Traveling the Vortex.
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex and landed episode number 155. And yes, Adam, it does take more than a man like you to get between Rose and the Doctor. It takes a Cyberman. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
How are you guys?
I'm good.
Well,
Good.
back's better,
That's good.
but I'm pretty tired tonight, so forgive me if I'm not very energetic. Yeah,
Drugs, tired.
it's just a balance, yeah. I'm not drugged up tonight, so that's a plus.
So there's that.
If I had the right drugs, it could
Would
be
you
fun.
like to be? I know a guy. Not that we're advocating that. Oh, goodness.
What
does it Bill Nye says on...
should we start over now?
What does it Bill Nye says on
Love
Actually?
Kids don't do drugs.
Don't buy drugs.
Don't buy drugs.
Become a pop star. Don't give them to you for free.
Just give them to you for free. We watched that last night, as a matter of fact.
We've been watching little bits of it. We haven't sat down and watched all of it.
How can you watch little bits
Because
of that
we don't-
movie? It's so good.
Because we just watched it a couple months ago, so it's all very fresh
So,
to
like,
us.
Holly, who is usually in bed by midnight because she just, or she just sleeps
She's
all the
a pumpkin.
time. She loves to sleep. And she doesn't stay up very late, very often. Well, we were wrapping gifts last night. I guess I'll start with what I did this week. We were wrapping gifts last night, and because Caitlin, this is so wonderful. Caitlin's like, "Can I wrap some gifts?" Absolutely, but I'm pretty particular. I'm a little anal about that kind of thing. So I said, "Okay, you wrap one. If you do well on it, then I'll let you wrap more." Well, she takes after her dad because she did a fantastic job. A little guidance, but by me, but little guidance. So she does a fantastic job. So I say, "Yeah, wrap away." So we're like, Holly and I are over drinking wine and going, "Yeah, you wrap those gifts." So
We're gonna sit here and watch
we
TV.
we watched How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and I think we watched
Which, the animated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, not the movie.
I guess the live action is
she hasn't
Dr.
seen the
Seuss's
movie.
The Grinch.
Yeah, she hasn't seen the movie, and she wants to, so she can see it. But anyway, we watched another Christmas show. Santa Claus Coming to Town. So, because we watch Christmas movies when we were at presents, and we had to do kid-friendly ones because Holly and I the last few years have been watching Love Actually, and you cannot let your 10-year-old watch Love Actually.
It is rated R.
So, specifically Martin Freeman's scene and scenes. And so anyway...
Good Queen Bess.
Yeah. That's what I told Holly last night. I said, that girl there? It's Queen Bess. Anyway, so she did a great job. Which is wonderful because when you get a 10-year-old to be, at the age where she can wrap gifts and she likes to do it and we don't, it was fantastic. I think I wrapped 2. Holly wrapped 1. Caitlin wrapped 7. So we got almost all of our, what we have bought. We have almost all of the Christmas gifts wrapped now. But anyway, we would watch that. So by the time we got done wrapping and Caitlin finally went to bed a little before midnight, I said, "We didn't watch Love Actually." And Holly said, "We still can." I said, "It's midnight." And she goes, "It's okay." So we watched Love Actually, and we were up until 3 o'clock in the morning because it's a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
And so we watched Love Actually last night. So we still got to watch it.
Nice.
Drinking a little more wine, watching Love Actually.
Speaking of Christmas movies, I don't know if I mentioned it last week that Fireplace for Your Home is no longer on Netflix. Mm-hmm. It is now.
Oh, is it? Okay.
As is Santa Claus Conquers the Martian.
Yeah.
That's Netflix.
So there's a Fireplace video on Hulu I noticed.
Is there?
I don't know if there's commercials.
That would be hilarious.
You get 5 minutes into your fireplace and then an ad for Pontiac comes up. I don't know.
That's the American Christmas.
Yeah, I'm going to have to fire it up and see. But anyway.
Did you do anything else?
No, because I feel like we've just been here recently.
We were. It wasn't that long
because I talked about Caitlin's band concert, and
we should totally go 2 a week.
It would probably mean shorter shows.
It would mean
we wouldn't
shows.
tangent and talk about what we did as much.
Although
I think I did more than
we wrapped presents and we did some Christmas stuff and we played Sorry, and that was it was just kind of a family weekend this weekend. So that's all we did. Not much. Worked. That's what I did. What'd you guys do?
I worked a lot. Still working on editing.
I feel like a broken record.
Yeah. She
of course I am too. Well, hung out with the family.
She had a very nice outstanding piece of good news, which is that her company name is now trademarked, which is awesome for her. It also means that I now get to go back and undo all of the work that I did up to this point in this editing project, so that I can add a parenthesis and a capital R and a parenthesis to make it put up the registered trademark in all of the places where I used her name, and then go back and re-render and re-export and finalize and just add an R.
That doesn't take much time, does it?
Yeah, I can do it.
You can't do that on the done product and then just re-render the done product?
No.
Why not?
Doesn't work that way.
Yes. I could make it work
you
that
could
way.
add it.
Oh, my God. Yes, I would make it work that way.
I don't have the ability to make it work that way.
Oh, my gosh. I would never go back and do that.
Couldn't you just take the done product and then do whatever effect you used to put the text on there to begin with?
No, because I created a title sequence as part of the product and then
So
exported it to use that title in a different program for the other thing. I use one program for titles because it's easier and cooler.
So then you just make another title and overlay the...
Just do three times.
It doesn't work that way.
Oh, no. See, I'd have made it work. I can make it right. Believe me, the laziest guy in the room can find a way to make it work.
You would have spent more time making it work that way than it probably would for you to do it the way you're doing it.
I would find another product to do it in and overlay it over with that one just because all it needs an R. I'll just overlay it here.
Yeah. It just to make sure that it was the right font and color and it's just easier to do it this way. So, I mean, hey, it's great. It's just... okay, so I had to redo all that. We also did.
You know what I told? Though I probably wouldn't have done it. You know what I'd have done? I'd have told her, "Hell no."
Semester's over, lady. I'm done.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have done it. You're too nice.
You're now getting credited for it. Give me money for it.
I'm well beyond that at this point because I need.
No. She's.
You're now getting charged.
And as soon as she becomes an official company, I'd start, instead of interning, I'd say, "Hey, I want some cash now."
Paid internship.
She wanted me to come take photos on Saturday, and I was like, "What time? 8 a.m.? Yeah. No. Well, no. I'm not available. I'm sorry." But we also round up wrapping presents, and we did not watch Christmas movies. We watched Doctor Who presents. Mel and I went back and watched
Christmas episodes.
No, we watched Brandon Morbius.
Brandon Morbius. He was just told us that.
I know.
Oh,
we finally.
I guess listeners didn't know.
We finally got caught up since we missed out on the Who with Friends, and then we did watch.
You guys like it as much as you remember?
Morbius?
Yeah.
I love Morbius. I unabashed. The more I watch it, the more it rises in my estimation. I don't care that it's Frankenstein. I don't care that it's a stupid brainstem. I don't care that it's...
I really liked it a lot.
I watch it, and I marvel at the fact that Sarah Jane is awesome, and she spends 2 episodes blind. She does more in those 2 episodes blind than most companions do in...
I don't think you need to be an apologetic
six-parter
for it being Frankenstein, because it's echoes of Frankenstein. It's not Frankenstein. I mean, it really isn't.
It's Frankenstein.
No. Because
No.
It's echoes. There's a basis there.
There's a patchwork man. He gets driven off a cliff by fire. There's a scientist who created him who goes hunting
there's about
for him.
3 structual nuggets of Frankenstein, and all the rest of it is Doctor Who.
It's Frankenstein.
And if you have not seen Brandon Morbius, you can get it at Barnes & Noble half off right now because all British TV is half off.
Oh, wow. Really? Why didn't you say something? That's cheaper than when I get them at work with discount.
I kept forgetting until we were just talking about it. I was like,
man,
I gotta go pick up Brandon Morbius.
You should go pick up Brandon Morbius. I love Brandon Morbius.
I should go get the Theater Time season for $50 now.
Although, according to the Barnes & Noble website, Series 7 is not included in that. I bet if you could go in, you could go into the store if they're doing the same thing and say, "Hey, this is a British TV."
And they just go, "Oh yeah, you're right." Click, click, click.
Yeah. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Dr. Max from Regal Geeks. He'll let you. They'll say, "Yeah, sure, no problem." For you guys, anything. You're people who know people. But I did watch. What have I watched? Christmas-wise, you said that. It made me think of it. We watched
Muppet Christmas Carol.
We watched Muppet Christmas Carol tonight, which I've determined is. That and Mickey's Christmas Carol are kind of...
I don't remember Mickey's. I don't know if I've ever seen Mickey's.
Those are kind of my 2 quintessential Christmas Carol stories, other than the Doctor Who one. Those are pretty much it. I don't like any of the rest
Me too, because I absolutely love Muppets and Disney, so those are the only ones I watch.
I was watching one of the bonus features, and they were talking about how they actually stayed truer to the book in Muppet Christmas Carol than any other ones.
Yeah, they really did.
And I was like,
most of the dialogue is very... Now,
the dialogue and the
music. The music translated from the book perfectly.
It really did.
Yeah.
Well, the songs are all there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It was like reading The Hobbit. It's all lyrics.
That's what I'm missing from the Hobbit movies, is the sing-songy stuff. But
It's the singing's there. It's just not sing-songy.
the problem is there's only the one, and then they called it good. Because The Hobbit, there were songs all the way through the thing. And
Well, they've got two more movies to go.
Movies, yeah.
that's true. I haven't seen Desolation of Smaug yet.
What was the other one that we watched? Oh, we watched Ernest Saves Christmas.
You laugh, but I love that movie.
I
it's the
love
only
it.
Ernest
I love
movie
it.
I can watch. But Ernest Goes to Camp's all right. But
I even like Ernest Goes to Jail. That's definitely the downward
That's where it
spiral.
starts for you.
Yeah.
Only other one I remember is Scared Stupid.
No.
But that's horrible. Anything beyond...
I don't remember that.
I think Ernest Goes to
very
Jail
well.
was bad, too. But for me, anything beyond Saves Christmas was just
Ernest
horrible.
Goes to Jail is the weakest of the Ernest trilogy. I only consider there's 3 Ernest. I know he made like
all
14,
the,
but
all the
there's
rest of
an
them were
Ernest
like
trilogy.
straight to video. Those were the
Yeah.
only 3 that actually went to the movie.
And Ernest Goes to
I didn't
Jail...
realize any of them did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ernest Goes to Jail is pretty much the Temple of Doom of the trilogy, but you kind of you let it go.
To me, Ernest... Well, no, that was the
I really
third
like
one.
Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
So that's why Ernest Saved Christmas it was really kind of the Empire Strikes Back of the trilogy. So
Yeah.
right
Oh, there
there.
you go.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
That's probably a better analogy.
Okay, we'll go with that. I'm easy. We'll go that route.
Well, because it's actually the second film.
And then we watched the animated Grinch. So we haven't watched Love Actually yet because I've been kind of waiting for that time frame when we have 2 hours that are not. I think
It's
Wendy
like 2 hours 15. I
is
think.
pretty much convinced
2:19,
that we've lost our minds and that we don't watch anything but kids stuff at the house. Because every time she walks in the room and Mel and I have a moment, we're probably watching Justice League, which is animated.
Which to somebody who doesn't know better,
You just walk in the room and there's a cartoon on. Or Katrina's there, so she's watching Caillou. She's got this weird fascination with Caillou all
Mason
day.
went
All
through that.
day, Caillou. I was like, okay.
No, Mason went through that too.
I'm sorry. Caillou's a freaking looking little bald kid. He scares me. I was like, what, Caillou? Okay. I have a straight trade about Katrina.
I'm just a kid. Just more.
Is this the paper roll story? Because you should tell that one.
I
too.
should tell that one.
Because that one's pretty funny.
Mel was rapping at Friday Night Who, and I made Mel promise long ago because she had a trash can, one of those 55-gallon drum plastic trash cans, full of wrapping paper. Different rolls of wrapping, all Christmas wrapping paper. And I had to put the manly foot down and say, you're not allowed to buy any more wrapping paper till you use up some of
I
the
had
stuff.
to tell Holly that last year because she always buys it after Christmas. And we've got wrapping paper that we've been wrapping gifts in for 17, 20 years.
So she was very unhappy about it, but I said, you don't need it. You don't need to go buy paper. You got paper at home. Every time we go out, I want it. No, you got paper at home. So we've been, same thing, for the last literally 5 years running. We've been wrapping gifts in the same paper. And everybody's complaining. The kids are complaining. Hey, the paper, is it this again? Like, yes. Deal with it.
You know why we're still wrapping paper in the same Christmas? Because she buys new paper and I open it because I get so tired of the old paper. So I'm wrapping it in the new stuff and she's wrapping in the old stuff. We got to get rid of the old stuff. Have at it. I'm wrapping the new stuff. This is pretty, But now I'm like, okay, wait a minute. We've gone way too far. You cannot buy any more wrapping paper.
So this Friday night, Mel's wrapping presents and getting through everything. And it's not that there's a lot of stuff under the tree. They're just all really big boxes. So she's ecstatic because she's going through rolls of paper. Just ring, and she's got like 5 tubes piled up over here that are now empty.
She knows that if she gets rid of old paper, you'll let her
She can
start
go
buying
buy
paper
new
again.
She knows.
You know what's brilliant? They're selling half rolls. So it's the length is half, but I don't think it's just as much paper, but it's half the size.
Oh, that's cool.
For the
So
small,
the length
smaller,
of the roll
yes.
was cut in half.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
for like books and DVDs.
You
and
said
stuff.
half, and I thought, who uses that? But yeah,
Well,
it's half
because how
this
many
way, not
times
half.
You have to cut
it.
all the way
Yeah.
across, and then you've got this, and
It's
you've got to
brilliant.
find something that's the size of the other half.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Just I thought
Oh, yeah.
see, that's
Yeah.
genius.
This one is in particular is stupid because it's really thin. It's
What's that
it's
foil
just
stuff?
bad. It's bad foil paper.
No,
but the
yeah,
size is perfect.
The size is perfect. Pose.
Okay.
The sound you didn't hear was Glenn taking a picture
I
of
put my
that.
phone on silent so it wouldn't sit there and buzz on us all night and beep and.
Oh, you mean like normal?
blip and-
I'm pretty sure some of these...
Although I haven't done The Sims for a long time. In fact, I just uninstalled it on this one, so it's not going to go.
I'm pretty sure that some of the boxes under the tree were double wrapped this year, just because she's that close to getting done. Anyway, so she's got all these things, and she hands Katrina one of the tubes.
Got to get her crack back.
She hands Katrina one of the tubes and says, "Watch this." And so Katrina puts up her mouth and starts, because she apparently figured out that you can do that. So I
because apparently Jesse earlier in the week did that and scared the crap out of her.
So now that's all. So I put my mouth on the other end. She was amazed that it worked both ways, you know. And then
she went to default for a kid with a roll of wrapping paper.
What was the first thing you did with a cardboard tube as a kid?
Lightsaber.
Yeah. Hitting me over the head non-stop for 10 minutes. Whack, 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 whack. And she would giggle. And Mel would laugh. So, it must be acceptable.
Grandma laughing, it's okay.
Let me tell you,
that's the problem when the kid does something cute and you laugh, and then it's like that's all they want to do because you laughed at it.
I'm laughing along with it. I'm carrying on. It's great fun, but I can only be pummeled about the head and shoulders so much before I've had my limit.
Even by a hollow tube.
Even by a hollow tube.
He was a really good report about it.
And then so I let it go and let it go and let it go, and then she hit me in the glasses, and it's like, it's time for you to go to bed. So the other story that I had to tell you about Katrina is apparently Mel took her out to, I don't know where, they shopped all over this weekend, but one of the places had a Santa Claus. And so she sent me a picture of Katrina on Santa's lap. And Katrina looks relatively unimpressed with it. She's
that age is about right.
She's not that she's scared of him. It's not that she's unhappy about it. She's just kind of like, it's a guy with a beard. And I made the comment to Mel. I was like, well, she doesn't look, totally thrilled with that. And Mel told me afterwards, she says, oh, no, this is her third time on Santa's lap. She's got it down to a science now because she sat on his lap and then came up to me and said, I sit, I get candy.
Oh! See, now...
That's a smart kid.
Okay, here's the thing. Mason... Oh, yeah, sure enough. So here's the thing with Mason. This is the first year that Mason has actually sat on Santa's lap. He's 5 years old now. This is the first year he's actually sat on Santa's lap. I don't know if you guys saw the Facebook post.
I did see that, yeah.
Which is funny because he was terrified of Santa Claus. And we've, in the past, managed to get him to stand next to Santa, sort of in front, so that he's not so close.
I was really surprised when you posted that.
And because all of our pictures of Mason with Santa are him near or in front of Santa Claus. And it's that real quick, okay, we got to get this really quick. Well, what happened is now Mason is also always been scared of costumed characters. So he would never go anywhere near it. Chuck E. Cheese come in, he'd go screaming off the other direction.
Okay.
I had to think about masks,
so we went to Disney World last year, and we were so afraid of that we had to, and it just pained me to have to do this because you wanted there to go there and to be that magic, but I wanted pictures of him with characters. And so we had to sit down and say, now, this is all make-believe. This is, there's actually somebody in a suit, which just, I hated that. But...
No, there isn't.
I know. But
don't ruin this for me, Glenn.
But the best thing about that was he actually had a good time last year because when he pieced that together knowing that it's not this big scary monster, because an oversized mouse is going to be intimidating to somebody who thinks it's an oversized mouse. When it's somebody dressed up having fun, it's okay. And all of our pictures came out great with him and both kids. We had some so it was fantastic.
Unfortunately, it's a kid that he sounds like he's too grounded in reality in general.
He sort of is. But I think that kind of opened him up a little bit, though, to kind of just let it accept it.
Yes.
So it was. I didn't think
instead of trying to figure out how is this trying to work.
He welcomed the magic as opposed to being too into the mystery of it. So the beauty of it is, Holly said, because I didn't go, she sent me that picture that I posted. They went into Dylan's. Now, when we went to Disney World, he'd go up and the characters hold their hands out and he'd go up and give them a hug, and that was the thing. When they walked in the door, the first thing he did is he went over to Santa and he gave Santa a hug. And Holly said, oh, I think we've got a breakthrough here. So then she said, want to get a picture? And Mason said, sure. And he crawled up and sat on Santa's lap. So we were like, yes! Of course, now... He's 5 now, so the next couple of years he's going to stop believing in Santa. So we've lost all that magic for the first 4 years, but whatever.
Maybe he'll be a late
it was
comer to
it was a
not
triumph.
believing.
Well, Caitlin, I think she puts up pretend front.
I'm just terrified that with Katrina's attitude, she's going to be running around to strangers. I'll give you some candy if you get in the car. Okay.
I get in the car, I get candy.
That's the way this works, right?
I didn't mean to ambush your story.
No, you're fine. But go sit on stranger's lap. Okay, I get candy. Sure.
Well,
what did you do this week?
Which is kind of odd because Colton was giving her jelly babies at the library thing, and she was kind of like, I don't know about this.
She wanted nothing to do with Colton.
Yeah,
we took the jelly babies. We're like, that's okay to eat them, and she kind of.
Maybe she just doesn't like jelly babies.
Well, what made me think of that too is you couldn't have bribed Mason because he doesn't like candy canes, and that's what all of the Santas hand out.
That's all
candy
they give
canes.
out.
Yeah, so couldn't have bribed him.
I didn't do anything Christmassy.
You went and sat on Santa's lap. I saw the pictures.
Actually, we watched Argo.
Ooh.
He's a year behind on all of the Oscar films.
You know why? Because I can get them at the library now.
You probably should start shooting for this year's films so that you've seen them by the time February. Are they February this year?
February this
March?
year.
Okay,
It's February.
I'm just going to go back to the AMC. I'm going to go do the 2-day thing now.
I'm tempted to go with you this year, so maybe I'll do that with you guys.
Depending on when it is.
Yeah.
Because it'll be another weekend off after Galley. I probably won't get to go.
I'll probably cherry pick and try to see something ahead of time. Because I think I saw something last year.
Well, I've seen Gravity, so that'll be my dinner break.
Oh, there you go.
Not that I wouldn't mind seeing it again, but
that's assuming it's getting nominated.
I think it'll get nominated. I haven't even seen it yet, and it's gotten
a
lot of
Golden
traction.
Globes.
It's got a lot of traction.
Quick Oscar predictions for you: Captain Phillips, Gravity.
Captain Phillips didn't get nominated for Golden Globes. So.
It did not. It got snubbed.
Captain Phillips and Gravity.
I think Hanks is up for Best Actor, or did he get the SAG nomination?
I think he got
for it? I can't
SAG
remember which
for
one
it
it was.
because, yeah.
I'm a little worried this year, Sean. I'm behind on my
Good
Oscar tracking because
I might have a shot.
As the awards start to roll up and we get into award season, I'm right on top of it and I'm following along. And I have been off that loop, off that radar this year. So I'm going to do a lot of catching up, I think, in the next 2 months. But there's been so much, Doctor Who and Christmas.
Oh yeah,
too much going on. So
I'll probably start after the first of the year.
I'm going to try after the first of the year get back on board and start doing my charts and my graphs and my scheduling and my viewing.
I'll wait till they're nominated and then figure out what I want to see.
You have a slide rule, don't you?
I do.
You have an Oscar slide rule.
I have an Oscar slide rule.
Keith just comes in and picks up the ballot. It's like an old person voting in the Florida election. Punch, 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 punch. Yeah, that sounds good. Why not?
I didn't do too bad
Hanging
last year.
chads and all. How was Argo? What did you think, I guess?
I liked it. I thought it was really well done. I was really impressed by it. I don't know if it's...
You never know if it was worthy of the best picture.
I
say that every time you see a best picture.
I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as other ones that were nominated.
Life of Pi, better than Life of Pi?
I would say it's on par. I think overall I enjoyed Silver Linings Playbook the most.
I still haven't seen that one. So.
I think part of that is I just went into Silver Linings Playbook with really low expectations.
That's what a lot of people did, I think.
But I really liked the dedication that was put into Argo. I think it has absolute crap that he did not win Best Director.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I think maybe not Best Picture. Definitely
he didn't get nominated.
He should have been nominated.
He deserved a nomination.
Just the amount of work he did. I didn't even watch any bonus features. Just from watching it and seeing the end credits, how much work he went into recreating it and making it look like it was 1970s. Did such a good job of it.
You know why Argo deserved the Best Picture?
What?
John Goodman.
He's phenomenal in everything.
He should have had a Best Supporting Actor.
He really
because
should have.
It would have been just about as much time as he was on film as Dame Judi Dench was.
6 minutes.
but yeah, that 6 to 12 minutes that he's on screen was phenomenal.
Well, and what really impressed me
and
also,
Adam Arkin, I agree. Yeah.
Was
Alan.
Ben Affleck's role in it wasn't as big as I kind of expected. Like, he plays an important role, but there's no one star of this film.
It's the best way to It's the best way to direct and star in a film. Do that because
he did a really good job.
You can focus a lot of behind the scenes and still act in the movie as well.
I was also impressed
Which is why he won't be able to direct Justice League because he's Batman.
I was also impressed by the who they got for it and the fact that really the two Hollywood people were the only two actual Hollywood people in it, besides Ben Affleck. Everyone else is pretty much TV stars.
That's true.
Which I was really impressed by. I was like, hey, it's that one dude from there and there and there and there.
I completely had forgotten and
Although,
didn't realize that
even Jerry the dentist from Bob Newhart.
Yeah. And
he will always forever be Jerry the dentist.
He will always be Jerry the dentist from Bob Newhart to me. I'm sorry. Even when he opened that door at the embassy, I went, "Hey, look, it's Jerry."
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, he was in the office across from Bob, and
I didn't watch
Bob
enough.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
The guy from
always
Alias.
be He was an Alias, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I was like, oh, it's the guy
No,
from
I
Alias.
didn't watch
I never watched Alias, but I knew who he was.
I know him from Titanic. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I love him in Titanic.
Although
He's still Jerry the dentist.
Clea Duvall has done movies, though. She was one of the hostages, has done movies. She was in Identity. I don't know if you guys know who this is.
The other guy was in Titanic.
No, the girl.
Yeah, but he's done movies.
Well, yeah, but okay.
One of the top 3 of all time. Come on.
Yeah, he's barely in it. I mean, he's another one of those small roles in it. That happens a lot.
But even Bryan Cranston is becoming a big name because of Breaking Bad, but he's a TV actor.
That's true. That's true.
And like his friend, his kind of second in command, is on a bunch of TV shows. I haven't seen him in any movies.
Really TV actors in it, but they all did a marvelous job.
And speaking of TV actors, we watched Womb today.
Womb?
Womb.
I'm glad we were both quite surprised by that.
Have you guys not heard of this?
WOMB?
Yeah, it's the 2010 film starring Matt Smith and Eva Green. Where,
off my radar.
So the plot of this movie.
I have no idea what that was. Wait, it's a movie?
Was it
a TV movie or was it a movie?
I think it was released in theaters.
Oh, Matt Smith?
Matt Smith and Eva Green.
No clue.
You don't know who Eva Green is?
I know.
Oh, okay.
I have no clue about this movie, though.
So, there are two characters who meet when they're young. She moves away. She comes back. They fall in love. He tragically dies. And apparently
Spoilers.
It's the first 20 minutes of the film.
Well, I don't need to see Womb now.
Actually,
if you're going out of your way to watch Womb because Matt Smith's in it, guess what?
Well, wait.
Spoilers.
He does a really good job in it, by the way. I expected them to have more time together.
It wasn't even in 20 minutes, because if he dies 20 minutes in, I imagine when they started out, he's a kid.
It might be 30 minutes.
So it's
in,
like,
like
he's in it all of 10 minutes before he dies. So.
And then apparently it's far enough in the future where genetic duplication is possible. So she gets impregnated with a clone of him.
Sorry.
And then raises him. That's why it's a bizarre.
Terrible.
It's a bizarre indie film.
That's kind of creepy.
So we do get Matt Smith again after he dies.
Oh,
because it goes to him being basically the same age. It's bizarre,
and she's okay
creepy.
with him calling her mom at that age.
Well, he doesn't know that he's a clone until he gets to that age.
No, she's okay.
Yeah, but she was okay with it
calling her mom.
She has some weird issues.
Oh, okay.
My only complaint with the film, really, is the fact that they didn't age her well enough. She looked pretty much the same.
She should be quite a bit older than he, and then she still looks pretty
much
young.
The same.
He does an independent film. They couldn't get a good makeup.
I don't know.
Although if it's far enough in the future, where
if we have technology to clone people,
he's not the only clone. So that was kind of how I was able to rationalize it.
But if you have to rationalize it, it's not a good point.
But there's a lot of stuff in this where it's like, wait, what's happening? Wait, what's going on? There's a lot of great Matt Smith moments in it, and parts you can tell where he's brought to the Doctor, and not just the way he's written. So, if you're a huge Matt Smith fan, it's definitely worth scratching your head at.
All right.
I'm assuming he did this after he
put that
finished.
on my Netflix queue.
I assumed he filmed it. It came out in 2010, so I assumed he filmed it after he filmed season 5 because he doesn't look that young.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a movie he was in that came out in 2011, so I'm assuming that these are the projects he's done in between.
Okay.
Which the movie he did in 2011 is on Netflix streaming. I don't think Womb is.
It will be. It's an independent film. It'll probably make it. And if it's trippy, it'll go to Netflix. There's a lot of trippy.
If it's an independent trippy film or a documentary, Netflix will be all over it.
It is not on Netflix yet.
It will be.
But it probably will be.
Not that I'm disparaging against Netflix.
It's a great outlet for trippy independent films.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, I really railed against having to get Netflix because I had to get it for documentary class, and I was really and I've really come to...
You were kind of about it until I moved in with you with Netflix.
Yeah.
And then you fell in love with it, and you were fine with getting it for class. You didn't like that you had to.
I didn't like that I had to. I'd much rather just rented them free from the library, but they didn't have them, so...
Yeah.
I've made my peace with it.
Plus has continued to get up there as far as my appreciation for having it, and they've added, what did we said there are 300 and some episodes now?
There was already 300 and some. There was 309 last week.
So there's 347, I think.
As of our last broadcast.
You tweeted it. I can't remember what it was.
Let me double check now.
Tons. Oh my gosh, tons. In fact, I watched a bunch this week. I watched The Chase. I love that story. It's so good. Ian and Barbara's swan song. But
they added 47. Is what they added.
They added 47 more too. Okay, so there was 109. So there's 150 something on there now. Now we were talking episodes.
157.
Yeah, we're not talking stories because some stories are 6 episodes.
Or 357. I'm sorry.
357 episodes.
Episodes, not stories.
Not stories.
There aren't that many stories.
But I mean, there's just there's ukos of Doctor Who out there now, and they've far surpassed the number of stories that are on any other streaming media. So I am so excited. Again, I'll put the note out there that if anybody that's going to get Hulu Plus, because they can watch Doctor Who on there, there are commercial breaks. There's just like watching them on Daily Motion or something like that. There's a commercial break. Now, Hulu Plus has done a nice job of, especially on some of the Hartnell ones, where there were a lot of fade to blacks where they would cut and move locations and stuff, and the commercials are there at the fade to black, so it feels like a natural occurring commercial break. Now, I haven't watched anything in like the third and fourth Doctor series that
you've kind of been stuck in Hartnell.
Yeah, well, that's just because Adventures in Space and Time just it warmed me to Hartnell so much that I've been going back and watching the Hartnell stuff now that's been showing up there on Hulu Plus. So I can't say about the other ones, but they're the ones that I've seen so far, that the commercials are not abruptly just thrown in the middle of action or anything like that. Whereas Daily Motion, it's set on a timer where once this is played so long, boom, you're going to get a commercial, and then you might come back right in the middle of the action. Hulu Plus has done a nice job of making it very television friendly.
I would think they would need to.
Yeah, I think so too. So again, if you're going to Hulu Plus because they have all of this Doctor Who on there, be aware that even Hulu Plus, when you're paying $7.99 a month, $8 a month, you're still going to get commercials on there. Now, it's not like TV where you get like 7 commercials in a commercial break. You still get an average of 2 to 3. But
so, how are the movie choices on Hulu Plus?
Not good. I mean, it's no Hulu. So pretty much, Hulu has all the Miramax collection.
I know they have all of Criterion.
They have all the not all of them. They have a chunk of Criterion film on there. I don't use it for movies though, and I wouldn't suggest anybody use it for movies. Go to Netflix or Amazon Prime for movies. But Hulu Plus is fantastic if you like old classic television, if you like Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who, and if you like if you don't like me, don't have cable and you don't have an ability to DVR things, I can watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. day after. I can watch Michael J. Fox show day after. I can watch anything, pretty much anything on ABC, NBC, or Fox. Now, they don't have any of the CBS titles, unfortunately. But
sorry, I was oohing at the fact that they have Open Your Eyes.
That's where I watched
the original Vanilla Sky.
By the way, that's where I watched The Thick of It, which was the Peter Capaldi vehicle on there. So they've got a lot of British stuff on
I'm thinking after the first of the year of signing up for it.
The nice thing is a lot of their Hulu originals is stuff that hasn't aired here. It's like stuff that showed on Sky TV and things like that. And then there's a lot of British television on there because they've taken and they've made them Hulu original, or Hulu exclusives, because they do have a few originals on there too. But they got Hulu exclusives, which are a lot of this British TV that I've started watching too. So it's terrific to be able to watch them on there.
So after you get it the first of the year, do you want to come move back in with me? So I can try it out and then warm to the idea of Hulu Plus?
Maybe.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to watch like classic Who I already have on DVD on there because I can watch it without the commercials.
That's I think is my problem. Is as much as I am all for yay Who, but at the same time I don't think it's a big enough draw for me to switch over.
Not for you because you have a massive DVD collection. Yeah.
Well, somebody had to float the show.
In fact, well, you had a lot of those before. we started. But a good chunk of those,
like this many on DVD.
Yeah, but you also got some of those treasure trove selections you got from
CD Trade Post,
and that all got you. The other thing I can say about it is a lot of the stuff that they've added in this big, massive dump is a lot of stuff we've already reviewed. There's very little on there that we haven't.
It seems like they're working their way through what's available on DVD.
Yeah, and it's basically...
And there's some that's gone out of publication, hasn't there?
In fact,
there's some
Black
of the DVDs
on there, which we think we decided went out of
Black Orchid
print.
is out of print. Well,
they don't have anything that's been. They don't have anything that's had the animation added. But so Reign of Terror is not on there. Invasion is not. The Invasion is not on there.
Ice Warriors,
10th
Planet.
And I don't think they would put anything relatively new. So I don't think we'll see Web of Fear come on there anytime soon, or Enemy of the World on there anytime soon, or Moonbase, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well.
I got a piece of news after that too.
Okay. But beyond that, that's it. So let's move on to news. We've talked enough about it. We've rambled on enough. 37 minutes about nothing. So.
Stuff.
This portion of Traveling the Vortex is brought to you by Hulu Plus.
So first up in news, what do we got, Keith?
There was a trailer.
30 seconds TV spot. I think they call that the TV trailer because it's not really like the BBC.
It was a full trailer.
Compared to what we got, it was the full trailer.
Yeah.
I like the alliteration at the beginning of it. I'm kind of...
It's a very Moffat thing.
Yeah, it is very... the clock is striking 12.
12s.
Plural. Does that mean there was going to be more than one of them?
Maybe.
Well, 12s because he's the 12th, and we're calling Peter Capaldi the 12th Doctor, so there's 2 12s now. So.
Well, that's true.
Then who's this 11th hour's done?
The problem I had with it is I agree. It opened nicely, but it just... It's
really
meant to wet your
appetite, any idea of what's going to happen.
No, I have no idea what's going to happen. Although it feels like an RTD finale. We got Weeping Angels, we got Silence, we got Cybermen, we got Daleks.
Shoving them all in there.
All right.
We're going to shove everybody in there. Nearly everybody that was in there at the Big Bang and Pandora. Oh, wait. That was Moffat.
Yeah. Well, but I just mean that.
No, I know.
You know what I mean.
We said the same thing about Pandora.
Yeah.
Though. We said
everything in the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
You know.
We said, that really kind of felt more like a RTD than a Moffat story. But so I'm excited. And
a little sad.
Yeah.
All the news outlets have been hitting up the 10 things we'll miss about Matt Smith and I haven't read any of them. I don't want to. Well, I'm starting to slide. I'm in Keith mode. I don't want him to leave.
And then if the Christmas special warrants enough pain to put you through, BBC America is airing that hour-long retrospective just on Matt Smith's run before the Christmas special to get you good and weepy ahead of time.
But next bit of news, we finally
get a release date
for Region 1 on the Moonbase.
Yes, February 11th, just in time for Valentine's Day.
Yay!
I know what I'm getting.
SRP is $24.98.
And cool art.
And very cool
single
art.
disc, then, I assume.
Yes, it is a single disc.
And that one has some animated pieces as well.
2.
I hope they do
2 animated episodes.
I hope they do it better than they did Ice Warriors. I can't wait till we watch this thing so that I can talk more about it.
Well, I will let slip that now that it's official, it's on our schedule for the week after Galley.
Oh, Ice Warriors?
Moonbase. Because the Moonbase comes out the Tuesday of Galley. It's like, I'm not watching that one Friday. Sorry, I'm going to be occupied.
You'll be lucky if you're going to make it for Friday night with that
right.
week.
Yeah.
You didn't, you didn't last time. So.
No, I didn't last time.
Neither did you.
Oh, yeah, I was there last year. I was thinking 2 times.
No, you were sick, remember?
Yeah, you were sick.
you were sick, remember? But yeah, so the following week will be Moonbase. Okay. So plan on buying it when it comes out, kids, because you'll have to do that.
It includes extras such as audio commentary and the lunar landing, making of featurette, and more. That's all we know about it.
And more. I'm excited for more.
And more.
Yeah. Sorry? And more.
Was there more you were going to?
Yeah. If you happen to be one of our listeners that is fortunate enough to live in the Great White North of Canada, thank you, Glenn, you apparently can walk into your local Best Buy and buy Enemy of the World and An Adventure in Space and Time on DVD.
And they're Region 1.
And they're Region 1.
If you can bring them across the border, you can watch them in the U.S. too. You can't buy them in the U.S., but you can watch them in the U.S.
I'm tempted to send Michelle some money.
I sort of thought the same thing. I sort of thought the same thing because, well, you know what? We can order from, as opposed to Amazon.co.uk, which is very difficult to order from in the United States. We can.
Oh, can we? From
order
Best Buy?
simply from Best Buy and Amazon in Canada. In Canada, we can. They are very much more. What do I say? Currency friendly with us. So, again, it's difficult to do that overseas. You can, but there's some hoops you have to jump through. Here, over the border in Canada, it's a lot easier to buy those things. So that might be an option for people that want to get it. Because, again, Canada is Region 1. All of North America is Region 1. Yeah. So if you buy it in Canada, you can watch it on your Region 1 DVD player or Blu-ray player or whatever here in the States. So that's a
I'm just because obviously, the instant gratification of me is going, now. I want it. And then the collector part of me is going, but Enemy of the World doesn't look like the rest of my DVD collection. And I'm kind of holding off, hoping that they'll...
What's their covers up there?
It's the bright yellow.
It is.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's probably close to what cover we're going to get.
We're going to get?
Yeah. I think so.
But it doesn't match anything we've got.
I have a feeling, and then just from listening to Steve Spancy talk about it a few years ago, several weeks ago, I really have a feeling they're going to make a trending change. I think they're going to look more like the revisiteds that we got
the Best
here
Buy
in the
Canada website doesn't list Enemy of the World available.
Oh, it doesn't?
It did earlier this week.
At least not on the site I'm at.
Are you on bestbuy.ca?
Yep. I searched Doctor Who Enemy of the World and it came up Diablo.
Try just Enemy of the World. Boom.
Oh, there it is.
Well, if you have any friends in the UK,
that's why I don't like the packaging, because it's like,
it's that one. And doesn't,
which is stupid. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like that
nice packaging.
I really like the packaging. I just don't like the fact that it doesn't match everything that's come before.
If they can use this packaging and still make it look like everything else, why not?
Don't you suppose the spine probably is the same as ours and everything? Because they're North American.
But the bar isn't there.
The bar's not there. But I mean, they've chosen to do something a little different with it. I don't mind that the cover's
go to the gallery,
slightly different, because this is still sort of in the same vein as ours. The spine has to be the same for me. That's the thing that will bother me about it, is if the spine is different. Just like that silly 25th anniversary or 20th anniversary.
Now, look up the Adventure in Space Time. It's got pretty cool artwork. I do like that one. But yeah, so just if you're there, I can't decide if I'm going to bother waiting for an official release or if I'm going to email Michelle, and because I'll be honest, I'm going to email Michelle anyway, because she said that she'd be willing to go to Future Shop and pick up some steel books for me. So it's like,
I remember,
so I'm compiling an order and trying to come up with funds. But I do like the Space Time.
It's cheaper in Canada too. Oh yeah, that's neat. I like that. Neat.
I'm curious if they're going to release this on Blu-ray or if it's only DVD.
As right now, it's only DVD, but it's also only in Canada.
Cool. Yeah. So
or Canada.
Canada.
So there's that.
Yep. Well, very good. Thank you for that update. Speaking of Patrick Troughton's stories, I can't talk tonight.
Patent Troughton from Canada.
Keith stumbled across a little bit of news this week that we didn't realize until tonight.
Who is Peter Capaldi's doctor?
Apparently, there is a 50-some minute
52
adaptation of the Power of the Daleks out on
Power of the Daleks
YouTube that you can reimagine that you can watch for free online.
For free?
And
it's on YouTube.
I did hear them about them working on this several months back. And it might have been around the time that I listened to Power of the Daleks.
So this was first released episodically in 3 parts.
That's what I remember.
And so this is the film version.
So, okay.
This is the
omnibus. And Nicholas Briggs stars in it, right?
Nicholas Briggs, Lisa Bowerman, and Barnaby Edwards are all in it.
Yeah.
Starring Nick Scoville, who is the director, as the Doctor. And they apparently...
we need to do a fan film just so that I can be the Doctor. Directors always get to be the Doctor.
It's one of those, because it's a reimagining. This is kind of an A Doctor. It's not any of the doctors. It's not Troughton's doctor. No one pretending to be Patrick Troughton's doctor. They've really reimagined the script and adapted it for this particular piece. And
apparently, they've done stage productions of The Web of Fear, Fear of the Deep, Evil of the Daleks, and the Dalek Master Plan.
And Power. I think they've done stage versions of Power as well. Because I think I had
this article
when it was coming out in the 3 parts, and I'd heard about it before. I remember
it would make sense to do it on stage first and then film it.
So. Yeah, that's kind of exciting that you can watch it online, and I will put a link to that in the show so that everybody can enjoy it.
We should totally get with Shannon and tell him that he needs to stage some Doctor Who productions over at Civic Theater.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I'd pay to go see that.
Yeah, there'd be 6 of us in the audience.
Well, we'll do it in the Old Father. We'll do it in the small one.
Okay. So that it won't look so empty when there's 6 of us in there. This would have been the year to do it.
6 of us in there shooting dust. We made it look almost full.
This would have been the year to do it.
Yeah, well,
this would have been the year to do it.
I have all my good ideas at the end of the year, so...
Maybe we can keep the momentum going.
That's why I'm scheduling all the way out through next year, because I'm going to be rubbish in January.
Speaking of fan films, somebody mashed together, finally... Well,
I'm surprised it took this long.
I think it's happened before, just not this well done.
Not this well done, yeah.
They were Sherlock and Doctor Who.
They were waiting for Sherlock to have enough footage. 6 episodes. What do you do with 6 episodes? Oh, there's a new trailer? I can do it now.
Although I don't think anything was from the new trailer, actually.
There was anything from the trailer.
Or the last episode, so don't worry.
No, I wasn't worried. I already know what's happened in the last episode. I got that spoiled a long time ago.
It's hard to keep that secret.
Yeah, Wholock. It looks amazing. I mean, it's you can see,
you can tell it's not officially done.
Yeah, you can.
There's some uncanny.
You can see the blemishes, but they're disguised very well.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty incredible the amount of time it would have taken to do this 5 minutes worth of video to put this together.
As exciting as the premise of this is, because let's be honest, all of us in some way, shape, or form kind of sort of would want to see Doctor Who and Sherlock together. You know, it wouldn't work because Sherlock, as brilliant as he is, his mind would be blown after one trip. He couldn't ever officially be a companion.
Not to mention, I think
it would destroy who he is.
It would destroy who he is, and then coming back, I think he would have a very difficult time adapting back to society. I don't think he could. Yeah, so.
He could do a one-way trip somewhere else.
someplace more advanced.
Yeah,
where he would fit in a bit better. Because as Moffat always said, the Doctor's a god trying to be a man, and Sherlock's a man trying to be a god. Yeah. But it really makes me want to see, like they did with. Call the Midwife, a comedy special. I want Steve Moffat
that would be a great Red Nose Day special.
That would be the way to do it if you're going to do it.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be just as damaging to him, to Sherlock's psyche? Like he goes on this trip,
I'm normal now.
And he gets dropped off on the planet, and now everybody's exceptional, and he's just one of the gang. I don't think he can handle that either.
I don't think he can.
Take me back. Maybe that's the premise of it. Take me back, where I can be special again.
Or that there are people actually smarter than him.
I don't think he's human.
You don't think Sherlock's human?
I think the Doctor dropped him off once upon a time.
He'll do well.
That's the premise.
How else did?
That's the premise of Wholock, is he comes back for him. It's like it's time to go home.
Well, he does say hello again.
He does. Of course, I got that more from the impression of all the stuff on the board. But
yeah.
I don't know. I
was it me,
or
was there audio lifted for that section from either Love and Monsters or Rose? I'm trying to remember.
I've only seen it the once, so I don't know that...
I think I noticed it more this second viewing. Listener, if you know what I'm talking about. Let me know. Email it sounded like some Linda discussion.
Are you playing with your app?
Lynn's playing with our next bit of news.
I was getting it ready here so I could talk a little bit about it.
Do you need more time?
No, I'm good. The Useless Creations, the company behind the Doctor Who sonic screwdriver.
1,000 points for your name.
Has created what's called the Doctor Who, the official virtual TARDIS app, and you can download it on the iOS or Apple App Store right now. I don't know if is it available for the other?
Nope, neither is the sonic screwdriver still.
Oh gosh, well, it's cool to be an Apple user. It's got two different modes. You can turn your iDevice into a virtual TARDIS. Essentially, you just take it and there's a TARDIS and it lands in your background of whatever your camera is showing. And you can shake it around and send it through the Vortex, which is kind of fun. And then the other version of it is you can actually see the TARDIS in the real world. And I took a picture and put it on my Facebook page, and I will add that to... Was the light flashing?
What's the name of it?
Oh, okay. It
Doctor
is
Who
called,
TARDIS.
yeah, and it's a lot of fun because you can materialize the TARDIS in the picture that you're trying to show. In fact, it flies around in the air. It's much better outside, we decided, because it's very unrealistic inside of Keith's apartment until it lands, and that looks kind of cool. But as it flies around, you can look around for it, and there it is off somewhere on the other side of that wall, I guess. But anyway, it's a lot of fun, and one of the other neat features of it is you can actually choose between the different eras of TARDIS. So there's
you didn't get to see that.
Yeah, there's the... let's start with the 11th Doctor's TARDIS and Vortex. Sean's already over there trying to find it.
I found it.
And then if you tap it, you can do the 10th Doctor's TARDIS and Vortex. And you can roll through them, and you can do, I think the 80s TARDIS is one of the options. And then back to the 70s TARDIS. And you get the Vortex really changes with it too, so which is cool. And then I see the 60s TARDIS.
This is much cooler than the Sonic app.
It is.
Sorry.
I've played with it a lot more. The Sonic app is, once you've played with it a couple times, the novelty wears off. The
Sonic app was kind of like the tricorder app.
Yeah.
It's cool for 5 minutes.
It's cool for 5 minutes.
Exactly. This one I've played a lot. In fact, you'll go outside and you go, a TARDIS there would be cool. Now, the thing is, when you look at this, it still looks like kind of a cartoon TARDIS. I mean, it's kind of realistic, but I mean, for an app doing it that way, but it's kind of neat to be able to... In fact, I think the shot that I took and put on Facebook actually looked more realistic because it landed kind of where it could have fit on your floor and was nearly to scale. So.
Yeah, it wasn't sitting on top of his desk or anything,
exactly.
so that helped.
So, and you can see, it didn't land on his Christmas tree.
Now, can I add the TARDIS to existing photos?
No, I don't believe you can. In fact, it's pretty limited. The other thing that kind of bothered me is that picture that I took and sent to Facebook, it did not save to my camera roll, and I'm not sure why it didn't do that, because most apps do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'll have to figure out if there's a way to save those pictures besides sending them to... Now, I could have used the save option, but I didn't. Usually when I take the picture,
it should do it automatically,
does it. But there was a save, because you get that screen that says save Facebook, Twitter, depending on what apps you have talking to your
it's probably an
photos.
iPhone thing.
Yeah. There was one more TARDIS you didn't mention.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. There is a, what do they call stolen TARDIS? Is that what it is? The stolen TARDIS is what I presume the TARDIS looks like when it does not have the... I'm just going to have to flip through it here.
It's the default TARDIS.
Oh, just the big, big silver cylinder?
Cylinder, yeah. One more. Oh, that's 6. Oh, there it is. Yeah, stolen TARDIS. So that's without the chameleon circuit on, I suppose, is what the TARDIS actually looks like. So.
Well, yeah, because that's what in
they had name of the
Doctor at
that
the
he runs
end when
into.
He's getting ready to walk off into the TARDIS. So that's obviously where they took that design from. So
I thought it was kind of neat that they included that.
Should have looked like a big silver box instead of a big silver cylinder, but okay.
They look slightly different. Well, I imagine them in the Name of the Doctor a little more like the black ones that we see in the War Games when they're using that wand. It's kind of more of what I was thinking of. That was more, to me, a non-disguised TARDIS.
That's what I thought too. But
anyway.
well. Yeah. I like silver cylinders too.
Yeah, silver cylinders are good. Anyway, so that's the TARDIS app.
If you landed somewhere, will it change
you said 99 cents. I thought I paid $1.99.
It's $1.99.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right. So if you want to spend $2 on a neat little novelty, it's kind of fun.
Did you ever download the Find It app?
I did not. I forgot about it, actually. I need to make myself a note.
I think it went up in price. I think the sale on it is over.
Bummer. Forgot about it. I forgot that you mentioned it because it was on sale, too.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that's it for news.
On to feedback.
First up in feedback, Rachel. If the email will load. Rachel writes, comment, question, hello, Vortex gang. Rachel here, just checking in, letting everyone know I'm still alive. If you couldn't tell from my tweets and Facebook posts after Chicago TARDIS, which I want to say a huge thank you to everyone for all the positive feedback on my pictures, video, and side trip. My husband and I were only home for about 3 days before we flew out to Florida.
I had trouble reconciling that because I saw her Facebook posts on Disney World, and I'm like,
wait, was it?
Is this the same person? I mean, it really took my brain a minute to go, maybe she just by way of Chicago. Sure.
I've been stalking her for a month because I was excited that she was going to Chicago TARDIS, and I knew she was going to Disney, so I was anxiously waiting for her to go to Disney.
You got a double dose. You got Who and Disney.
I could live vicariously through her Disney posts, too, because in fact, Holly and I discovered that the 15th today was the first day we were in Disney last year. So this has been 1 year we were actually Animal Kingdom. I would have been in Animal Kingdom tonight. So
Keith and I would have been talking about books.
I think we would have been.
It was actually Saturday tomorrow that I went, so it'll be tomorrow for you guys.
We probably might have still been talking about books.
Yeah, you got to go move a day off.
We just recording.
Because we left we arrived on Saturday. I guess we left Saturday morning, but from Kansas City. So
anyway,
yeah. So anyway, I was really missing Disney World, so I was kind of living vicariously through her.
And she saw Neil Patrick Harris.
She did. Yeah. They were recording the Christmas parade there this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or no, not
I thought they were just. I thought he was just there with his family.
No. In fact, I think she saw.
How I Met Your Mother.
She made a comment that Whoopi Goldberg was getting mobbed over in Future World or something. So.
Oh yeah.
I think they had a lot of stars that were actually in that. Now I think he's the MC for the parade. Like he's the big name. But they actually were recording the Christmas parade over the course of the days that they were there. And correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, but I think that's what I remember. And then that will air on Christmas Day, Christmas morning.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, we'll see that.
You mean it won't be live?
It will not be live. Afraid not. Although it could be because Disney World is open that day, all of the parks.
Will they do a parade that day?
No. Well, yeah, but they'll do their usual parade.
So not a special Christmas parade?
Well, they might, because when I was there, you could buy tickets to the Mickey's Merry Christmas Party. Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. And which was an extra added thing that we paid for, and then we went, and it's kind of exclusive to just those people that buy the tickets. And they had a special parade for that. You got a special fireworks show. There was different shows. So yes, I mean, if you're there that day, you might be able to see that. Everybody might have a chance to see that particular parade without having to buy the exclusive party.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
But yeah, the parade that we'll see on Christmas Day on TV is not the same parade that's happening in the parks that day, because that's all been pre-recorded.
Okay.
It's a different parade than even that one was.
That's so cheated.
Yeah, it's
Macy's got this down right.
Yeah. No, it's I mean,
not this year. I was disappointed with it.
I didn't watch it.
I think it's nice.
I never watched Macy's.
It's nice for now. It's probably only an hour show, but it's nice for the network because those people, they've already got these pre-produced stuff for that day, so you only have to have a minimal cast.
So they actually get to give people the days off.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Let them work.
You're getting Christmas off this year, so
they wanted to get in TV. Let them work.
Whatever. Anyway,
we spent 6 wonderful and warm days at Walt Disney World celebrating our 4th wedding anniversary. But now we are back and trying to survive the cold and snow. Although personally, I'm ready to move south. On a side note, I picked up a package of Jammy Dodgers and chocolate digestive biscuits from the UK Pavilion and Epcot. And I love them both. I keep them at my desk at work, and they both make for a nice midday snack. Of course, now I'm wishing I had bought more. I guess I'll have to go back and buy more, or go to Amazon.
I bet you'd like to go back and buy more, but
I have determined
probably financially cheaper to buy.
I wonder if they were fresher at Epcot than ours.
Were.
Could be. I've determined that we should have tea.
Tea?
The tea break, the tea and crumpets, and
tea. Socially, in the United States, we should have a tea break.
I'm going to start the tradition.
I would love that.
It's just an opportunity to have a break.
I would love that.
Yeah,
I would love that.
I'd go for that.
I will make a mention, and because here they're called Dillons, other places they're called Kroger's, and some places they're even called Bakers, and they might be Bakers
in chain.
In Indianapolis.
Grobel or something.
There is a Grobel too. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, if you have any of those particular Kroger stores in your area, at least our Dillon stores, the larger ones, have what are called import sections, and one of the import sections is British foods. Now, the Jammy Dodgers I've never seen there, and I've never seen Jelly Babies there, although I've heard they're in some other stores.
Do they have Marmite?
They do have Marmite. But if this helps, they have the plain and chocolate digestive biscuits in that section. So if you've got one of those stores that has the import section, you might check that out. You might, at the very least, get the digestive biscuits. Biscuit? I thought it was like to help you digest. It's just simply that's the name. It comes from I think I read what the reason they called it digestive. It was actually named after somebody or some name before, and they changed the name to digestive. It has no bearing on the fact of the digestive system or anything. They just happened to change it to this name. But it's a very popular biscuit. When I say biscuit, it's a cookie because their biscuits are cookies. They're
right.
Which would go better with tea.
Yeah. So, but they do have digestive cookies biscuits at our Dillon stores anyway. So maybe that should be our next thing we buy and taste.
You should.
See if those are any good.
Wait a minute. You changed it to latrine?
Rachel, there are a number in Indianapolis.
So
it's all Kroger stores.
You might check those Krogers and see if they've got the import special. Not all of them do, because we've got like 6 Dillons here, and only 3 of them have the specialized import section.
It depends on having a father who works for Kroger. It depends on if it's a new store, if it's a refitted from, because Dillon's didn't used to be Kroger. It was locally owned, and then Kroger bought them out
Correct.
15 years ago.
Was it that long?
No, it's been longer than that, because my grandmother worked for Dillon's when Kroger bought them, and she's been gone nearly 15 years, and maybe more.
My dad worked for them when they were Dillon's, too.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
How long he's been there.
My grandmother worked there when I was a kid, and she retired when she was 65, and that would have been another 20 years ago.
So it might have been 20 years ago or so.
Yeah.
I don't know how long ago it was, but
20 or 30 when they bought.
But from what I understand, at first, Kroger didn't quite take over all the Dillons. They just bought the stock in them, and then Dillons slowly gave up their rights to the Dillons brand.
I think they slowly let them envelop them, basically, is what they did. Yeah, I mean, they weren't giving up their rights. They were voluntarily doing it.
They sold it, and so it was a gradual thing. It wasn't an instant, okay, now all the Dillons are like Kroger's. It was a very slow thing. In fact, especially a lot of the employee stuff, it was a very slow thing.
I'm bringing digestive biscuits next week.
You should.
I'll try them.
You should have tea.
The best place to go for the import stuff here in town is the Fairlawn store.
There's more than one kind of tea?
Technically.
That was a Scott Pilgrim joke.
Oh.
Fail.
You didn't get that?
It's been too long since I've seen it.
There's an import section at the a very good import section at the Fairlawn and 21st store. So that's where I would go. Yeah, our newest one. So
yeah.
So if you have a recent remodel of a Kroger, they'll probably have it.
Yeah. But the Urish one has a good one, and the North Topeka store has a pretty good one. Everything else, I went looking for Jelly Babies. Their import stuff is in with their ethnic stuff. It was really disappointing. It's not even it's not
in the ethnic aisle.
No, it's not. It's an actual. Those particular aisles are import aisles, and then there's an ethnic aisle, which is where the more they say ethnic, but it's like old El Paso, and
that's for the Mexican food.
It's the Hispanic aisle,
right?
Quote
exactly.
unquote.
Or the Italian.
Then it is still the import aisle because that one.
The import.
Some of them have
the Mexican Coke and stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
Like Brookwood, the import stuff is amongst the ethnic stuff.
Yes.
In those stores. If you go to Fairlawn, they actually have an import section, and the Mexican stuff is not next to the old El Paso stuff in the ethnic aisle. It's in its own little section, and it's all specialized.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Because it's actually imported as opposed to old El Paso, which
is made here in the United States.
This stuff's made in New York City. Oh, that was Pace. Sorry. Never mind.
We've gone way too far into this. Go keep going. Sorry, Rachel, we hijacked your...
I do have a comment/question on something that was mentioned in last week's podcast. In talking about Big Finish, someone mentioned that the 5 Nyssa stories fall between Time Flight and Arkham Infinity. But what about Light at the end? In the story, it's 5 and Nyssa, but when Charlie is experiencing one of the first rounds of Ghost, you distinctly hear Tegan and Turlo mention the Black Guardian. So does that mean that Charlie experiences 2 different time periods for the 5th Doctor? If so, why 2 of his and only 1 of all the other Doctors, unless I'm missing something? Just a thought that came to me when listening to the show. That's all I have for now. Take care and stay warm.
Can you guys take this? Because this is what I'll say on the matter, because I don't remember Turlo in it at all.
I remember him.
You do? Okay.
Yeah,
I remember because the mainline stuff is taking place between Arc of Infinity and what did we say? Time Flight and Arc of Infinity. Those stories do take place in the Big Finish main line. I don't remember the Turlough part of... Now,
see,
Turlough travels with the Doctor as well by himself, but that's post-Tegan stuff as well. So that's a whole different era as well in the Big Finish stuff. But the two of them together, if you heard Tegan and Turlough, I don't know why there was a bleed over from another... Because I was getting the impression that everything was happening just within that companion Doctor pairing.
I think it's
that even the past stuff. Although we do hear Sarah King in them too.
Yeah, we hear Ian, we hear Susan, we hear Vicky, we hear Stephen, we hear Sarah and Polly.
Which Sarah would have been with Stephen. So.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah,
I think it's just a bleed over of all of the timeline because it's all happening within the TARDIS.
The main part that we're getting with the Fifth Doctor and Nyssa probably takes place within the same time frame of time between Time Flight and Arc of Infinity.
Yeah.
So that storyline is happening there.
Yes.
However, we're getting some bleed over from past and future of incidences that aren't tied directly to what's going on in the story.
I talked to a friend of the show, Barnaby Edwards, and he's going to draw up a Big Finish infographic for us.
Well, true.
So it'll just have a bunch of wavy lines on it that converge at various points and let you know where the story takes.
So that would be, and like you said, obviously the reason I got the impression that the First Doctor in this was at the time that this is affecting him, and he's getting the red blinky light. He was with Susan, Ian, and Barbara.
Yes.
But we do get some bleed over of Sarah Kingdom later, and I got the impression that the Third Doctor was with Joe at the time, but we don't get any Liz Shaw, right?
Correct.
Okay. We do get the Fourth Doctor, Jamie, and do we get Victoria or do we get Zoe? I don't remember.
Fourth Doctor and Jamie.
Or third. Or second. Back up. Second Doctor.
Just Jamie and Zoe.
Just Jamie and Zoe. Okay. So,
well, and Polly, because Polly...
The First Doctor is affected that way. The second is not. The third is not. The fourth, did we get any other companions beside Leela? Okay. And then the Fifth Doctor is affected that way. And then the Sixth Doctor, we only got the Perry and the Sixth Doctor, right? We did not get any Mel.
Correct.
Okay, so that's not affected that way. We got no Seven in Mel. We got Seven in Ace. The Eighth Doctor would have been just Charlie. So there must only have been those two that they were...
You're reading too much into this. It was who was available.
It was
no, I think you're absolutely right.
It was as many companions as they could to get.
But I've got to make it fit my headcanon, and because I missed the Tegan and Turlough, the only one that I caught outside of that was Sarah Kingdom.
I'm surprised you missed the Turlough bit because he confuses Charlie for working for the Black Guardian.
I do remember that comment, and somehow I thought that was Nyssa and the Doctor talking, and they were referencing the Black Guardian, but that wouldn't have happened yet. So, yeah. It just didn't sink in at the time.
The first time listening to it,
remember the Black Guardian comment.
Listening to it, there was only a few that I was able to pick up when listening to it, and Turlough was one that definitely stood out.
But Nyssa wouldn't have been there when Tegan and Turlough were there at the same time either. So, yeah. So
it's
the Fifth Doctor and Nyssa that is happening in Light at the End is also happening. My presumption is always also happening between Time Flight and Arc of Infinity. We just get some other future bleed over or future past bleed over. So hopefully that answered it. I was using you guys to do that because I couldn't remember Turlough in it at all, or Tegan for that matter. But I do remember the Black Guardian comment.
I think that's all there is to it.
Okay. Well, there you go. Hopefully we answered your question.
Yes.
Next up is Chrissy.
Chrissy writes, everything plus the kitchen sink. She must be talking about an RTD episode. Mm-hmm. Dear Vortex Boys, I'm amused and flattered that you guys would suggest that Rachel and I, and whoever else, would do a Verity-type spin-off podcast. Let me put your minds at ease and speak purely for myself. I have no idea if Rachel would be interested in this. I have neither the energy nor the expertise to put together a regular podcast. That's okay, neither do we. It would be fun, but it would be a lot of work. Plus, the sound of my own voice kind of scares me, which is why I stick to blogging. Don't get me wrong, I liked doing the side trips and such for you guys, but personally, I'm not ready for primetime podcasting. So your listener count is safe. though I don't think your listeners will be going anywhere anytime soon, even if you had competition. She put that in quotes. I'm sure we'd find a way to happily coexist. Though do you want me to read this or not?
Yeah,
okay. Go ahead.
Though if you want to do a semi-regular contributor to your blog, I'm your girl. I just need some topics to write on. I noticed that I haven't updated my own blog you noticed that I haven't updated my own blog for a while. It's been a hectic December.
Don't feel bad. I haven't updated my own blog for weeks either.
That reminds me, Chrissy. How's your blog going, Glenn?
It's kind of stagnant right now. It's been a hectic December.
Just you let me going all the way up to that 50th anniversary.
I did. I still haven't written my anniversary review. Well, the problem is we did the review here on the show, and then I was like, everything I needed to say has been said. So I'll find some other topics.
That should be your post. My review of the 50th. See Traveling the Vortex episode number.
Episode 153.
Yeah, by the time last week's podcast came out, I pretty much figured out how Doctor Who Legacy worked. And I was trying to be good like Sean and save my time crystals. But then the game started dropping time fragments. I needed to level up my characters, so I ended up spending a whole bunch of them to stay alive in the game. I still have 4 left, though. Prisoners of Time. I enjoyed the ending of the comic well enough. However, I have one teeny tiny little nitpick that I need to complain about for a bit. And this nitpick is nothing that I expect anyone else to be bothered by, and I'm certain that I'll get some flack for being so pedantic, but I'm from Utah, so I notice this stuff, especially when someone gets it wrong. When the Doctor goes back to Van Statten's vault, the vault that's supposed to be in Utah desert near an abandoned army base, he has a map of Utah that has marked where the vault is supposed to be, and it's marked on the eastern side of the state, where there are no army bases anywhere at all. There are a fair few on the western side. There's one a stone's throw from my family's ranch near the Utah-Nevada border, and that's where the Utah desert is actually located. The eastern side, especially the area marked on the map in the comic, is mostly mountains and forests and rivers and actually quite lush. Well, as lush as you can get in the Rocky Mountains and points westward. So, yeah, that threw me out of the story a bit. I know, I can't expect a comic book artist in the UK to be totally familiar with local geography, and you can go all ahead and laugh at me for nitpicking something so inconsequential, but it's my home state, and I get ever so annoyed when something like this isn't portrayed correctly. But instead of actually writing to the comic book artist, I write to you guys and have my grievances aired on your podcast. And I'm just going to say thank you for letting me have this forum.
Let me address something here, too. Go ahead.
That you know of. There's no army bases there that you know of.
Chrissy, I can sympathize with you because, as you know, I'm a fan of Westerns. And there's a particular Western that's called Dodge City. And it's set in Dodge City, Kansas. And a number of times as they're showing the scenic southwest Kansas prairie, many times in the film, you can see mountains in the background. And me being from southwestern Kansas, and from the Dodge City area, and having spent lots of time in Dodge City, many times in Dodge City, I can guarantee to you there are no mountains in Dodge City or anywhere near Dodge City. The closest mountains to Dodge City are in Colorado, which you have to go quite a ways into Colorado before you even start to see them. So that always bothered me from the first time I saw that as a kid.
You better not watch Jericho then.
Oh, no.
Supernatural.
No, not much of Supernatural set in Kansas.
No, but every time they go home to Lawrence,
and
it looks like the Dukes of Hazzard backlot because there's a tree, and it kind of has that rustic feel. In fact, I think it's even the same covered barn is back there somewhere. The covered bridge is back there somewhere. But then there's that mountain over there on the left, and it's like, no,
Vancouver.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
So anyway, there's no mountains in Dodge City, and there's no desert in western or eastern Utah.
Even when it's something simple like an animated TV show, and they throw up like the weather map of the United States, and whoever drew the map didn't really bother to fill in all the states in the middle. They're just kind of,
there's just this blob. This is the center part of the
they're just kind of all squares. You know, it's like my state doesn't look like that. Chrissy, I think I'll get to this in a minute, but I think my real problem with that scene wasn't the fact that the army base was, marked on the map incorrectly. I think it was the fact that he had a map to a secret army base. That I think was, that to me was I know you're the Doctor and you can get away with just about anything, but where did you get a map to this place?
From Van Statten's vault, who was a very rich man and probably did know where that army base was.
But this is 2 Van Statten's
But it's 2
vault.
Van Statten's vault.
Oh, that's right, it was. Yeah.
Van Statten's vault was an old army base.
Well, he landed there, though, remember? So, once before. So he
he
grabbed a map, marked it, and said, I got to remember this place.
Except for what looks like the book that's laying there that he picks up to go find the map.
Oh, that's true.
And a whole story's flood.
Well, it's Adam's map. He picked up Adam's map.
Adam was trying to find his way back to the vault.
And so
And
the
he
doctor
circled it
picked
on
up
the map.
Adam's map.
He found it out.
Adam probably
Adam,
got the
it's
map
just a
originally
regular
when
map
he was
that he
young
said,
from Van Statten and said, "Hey,
No, he didn't
I'm
get a map
hiring
from Van
you.
Statten.
Yeah,
Do you
I'm
have a
hiring
map to
you.
your house?
If somebody, if I take a job from somebody overseas and I say, how do I get to your place? They might mail me a map and circle it for me. So I take it with me. I know how to get there. So what have I done? I've left it now
This
there.
was 2005.
I have
Pretty
left
usual.
it there at my house, and it's still there. And so now he's has a map, and that's where the doctor finds it, picks it up, and goes. That doesn't fix the fact that there couldn't have possibly been desert or
the
an army base
He was
nearby
actually
there.
at a library.
Was he at a library? Oh, I thought that was at the point he went back to Adam's apartment or Adam's.
Adam must live in a library.
Well, Adam was somewhere. Adam was tracking the doctor
yeah,
and was.
these are the boards, but it's at a library.
I know. So but he had all that stuff. Obviously, Adam had brought all this. I'm sure he brought the map that Van
have.
Statten had sent to him of Utah that he circled on there when he got the job to go work for Van Statten, and he needed to know where he needed to go.
I think it's more likely he's trying to find his way back. This is when he was trying to find his way
hang
back
on,
to the
hang on.
underground vault that was supposedly all concreted up, that was able to get into
That's
very
another
easily.
issue I have with the building.
We'll get to
They
that.
obviously didn't fill the whole thing with concrete. They just did the first floor so nobody could get beyond that.
I
Which
will-
we've already discussed
Yeah.
that.
I will allow, because Adam is from another country taking this job, that he may have been given a map.
Not to mention it was a secret.
I think it's ridiculously
You're not going to just tell
implausible.
anybody that it's there. I mean, it's not going to show up on
Have
any
somebody
map.
meet him at
You're
the
not gonna
airport. You don't need a map.
Well,
if it's secret,
when
you
was
blindfold him. Does Batman hand out maps to the Batcave?
When was
and say,
Dalek
this is where I am?
set?
2005.
No,
It was 2005.
No.
So there was
It was
GPS.
set in 2012.
Okay, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah,
It was
that's right,
2005.
that's right. I'm sorry.
So there
was
was
pre-Google.
GPS
It's
at that point.
2012.
Why didn't he just give him GPS coordinates instead of mailing him a map with a circle on it?
2012 was not pre-Google. That was
Just kidding.
2 years ago.
I know.
2005,
But not by-
2002.
But by rewatching Long Game, Adam sure should know a lot more than he does about technology if he lives in 2012. He had no business in that job.
We're going to talk about this in a little bit.
So there's a map. Whew, now that that's over, she continues, I did like seeing the Anthony Ainley Master in the story because, well, he's my favorite Master. I can take or leave Adam Mitchell as the villain of the piece, but the Master is much better. That being said, the ending of Part 11 is pretty grim, with Adam forcing the Doctor to choose his favorite companion. Sounds like one of those tired fandom games where we all ask each other, who's your favorite companion? And the correct answer is, of course, all of them. Though we each like some more than others, but that's beside the point. And then Part 12 becomes, well, it pretty much becomes an all the Doctors and all the companions free-for-all. So much so that I had a hard time figuring out who some of the companions are. Although that could be the artwork, who knows. But how else is this series going to end, right? We had to get all the companions freed from Adam's diabolical schemes, and this being a 50th anniversary celebration, I'm okay with it. So yep, that was all good. And Amy and Rory get to briefly meet Clara, which helps my headcanon with my Doctor Who legacy team. Let's just take a moment to reflect on how most of my review was a complaint about one geographical mistake in one panel of this comic, and I'm actually fine with the rest of it. That's okay. That's going to be pretty much our review too, I think. One more thing from last week. You guys mentioned Rise of the Cybermen Age of Steel was based on spare parts, the same way Dalek was based on the audio story Jubilee.
Now, wait a minute. I mentioned that people were saying that. I didn't mention that it was.
Well, yes and no. The Cybermen two-parter only took a few ideas from spare parts.
Exactly.
The main one being the concept of a fully converted Cyberman remembering its human life. The writer of spare parts
In no way the same way, but go ahead.
The writer of spare parts got a special thanks to on-screen credit for that story, but someone else wrote the TV episodes. With Dalek and Jubilee, Robert Sherman wrote both of these stories. And I'll be honest, I've listened to Jubilee, and there are elements of that story present in Dalek, but it isn't a full-on adaptation, so it's not like the Doctor had the exact same adventure twice. Or maybe I'm missing something and I need to go back and look at it again. But yeah, that's my input on that subject. Bye for now, Chrissy.
Well, I appreciate you clearing up the Jubilee thing, because like I say, I haven't listened to Jubilee before. And in fact, Dr. Phil made a comment and directed me to some information on Facebook as well, which I read.
And then he also did another long comment. You see that?
He did, yeah. I thought he followed up with that. But I still... I understand the idea. In fact, that the wiki talks about how the reason why they're specially credited at the end of the show for borrowing the idea of spare parts is the fact that it sounds like when they first started writing the episode, it really was a lot more of a direct comparison to spare parts. It was essentially just changing the idea of spare parts in a way. But as it evolved and they went on, it really became quite a different story. And I guess what I was saying last week was my issue with this is the fact that so many people went with this idea as though they didn't see both and said, oh, it's just a direct ripoff. And that was the problem. A lot of people were saying, oh, it's just a ripoff, it's spare parts. There's very little difference. And I appreciate the fact that spare parts inspired Rise of the Cybermen. I really appreciate that idea because there are little similarities in it, the basis of them. But beyond the little small similarities, they are completely different stories. They're set completely different places. They're set completely different universes. I mean, that was what bothered me is when I kept hearing that. Oh, it's just a ripoff of spare parts. Oh, they just redid spare parts. It's not. They are they are apples and oranges right now. And while I applaud them for giving the credit at the end to Mark Platt. Mark Platt wrote Rise of Spider-Man. Whoever wrote, and now I can't remember who wrote
Spare Parts. I had it right.
Okay, so Mark Platt, who wrote Spare Parts, but they're giving him a credit, special thanks to recognition. Well, I applaud the fact that they did that because they got the idea from Spare Parts. I don't feel that they needed to because it was so drastically different in the long run that it wasn't necessary. But yeah, I acknowledge the fact that the basis was probably the idea from there, but I really got frustrated with all those people online. The people that I can't get frustrated with are the people that read Human Nature and then they made the story Human Nature and Family of Blood, and it is really probably the most similar between two stories than anything that's come before, and that's because that
was still even the same writer.
Paul Cornell, who just basically adapted for TV. And the thing that irritated me the most was, I mean, he readapted it for the 10th Doctor, and it was written for the 7th Doctor in the book. And a lot of people kept saying that just screws up canon because it's like he did it again as the 10th Doctor and had all the same experiences. That's the one where I could see people being a little frustrated with. A lot of people were saying, there's no canon in Doctor Who and just fluffing it off. There was more people fluffing that off than they were defending my point that spare parts and But I was in the same boat with the people that said that, well, now you've screwed up canon, because I think it kind of does. You can do whatever you want. It's your story. And, headcanon is what you make it. But to me, that doesn't gel as well as spare parts and Age of Steel, because those are clearly different adventures, whereas Human Nature is pretty much the same story, just readapted.
So we just need to write a story that fixes it. We'll slap a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah,
and make everybody happy.
Yeah.
Get to work on that.
Shock Conductor.
You could totally work that into that.
Have the Shock Conductor.
I'd have to go back and revisit both Human Nature and Human Nature Family of Blood, because
it's on the docket.
It's been a long time since I've read Human Nature, so
not till next year.
Way back when Human Nature first came out. So, all right.
Well, thank you, Chrissy.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Up next is Holly.
And last but not least, Holly,
we're going to try and get through your email without interruptions and discussions of other natures. So, bear with us.
155 IDW Prisoners of Time, issues 11 and 12. Hey guys, I'm playing catch up with Prisoners of Time. I was able to work my way through the first 10 comics over the past couple of months, and was able to read 11 and 12 this past week. Oh, good. The last 2 issues of this were good. I think they did a good job of wrapping up the story. After Clara gets taken by Adam in the beginning of story 11, the Doctor is ready to get to the bottom of this and why Adam is doing what he's doing. The reveal to the 11th Doctor that the Master and Adam teamed up was interesting. I loved 11's comment about the Master going around or to extreme wrestling when with the Ronnie, was going around or to extreme wrestling with the Ronnie when it was actually the Aeroliths. The Doctor even warns Adam that working with the Master is not the smartest thing to do. The ending of Comic 1, with Adam making Comic 11, with the Adam making the Doctor have to choose which of his numerous companions to save, was dramatic, to say the least. Issue 12, when the Doctor asked to be able to consult with his associates, I didn't have a clue that it was going to be all of his previous regenerations. Talk about another multi-Doctor story. Gotta love Frobisher and his shape-shifting abilities. 2, asking Frobisher to lend a flipper a few panels later and shape-shifting into an auton to distract Adam so Frobisher could release all the companions from their prisons was a great moment. The ending of the story with Adam realizing that the Master was just using him for his own purposes and wanting to redeem himself and save the Doctor and the universe was good. Of course, the Master was able to escape yet again to fight and scheme another day. Well, I'll wrap it up here. Looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts on the final 2 comics of Prisoners of Time, Holly from Wisconsin. And she signed it, Holly from Wisconsin, just for you, Sean.
I feel so much better.
All right, well, we're going to put Prisoners on Time on hold, our thoughts on that, because first we're going to take care of some other business.
We're going to discuss the 11th Doctor Revisited.
Shouldn't be long.
Glenn, what do you think of it?
It was good. The one thing I took from this was watching this and recapping match years. You guys know me. I have been not that I'm not sad to see 11 go.
But you're very excited for 12.
I'm very excited for 12. And so that's really kind of clouded my vision. And maybe I've just put the fact that 11's leaving mentally aside.
You've made peace with it.
Yeah, well, maybe I put it mentally aside by masking it with excitement for Capaldi. I still am excited for Capaldi, but watching this, it really kind of sunk in that, wow, this is kind of it, you know? And it made me really appreciate the 11th Doctor again more so, and kind of put Peter out of my mind for a while watching this. So that's what this really did for me, was just kind of the recap of his era, and I really kind of enjoyed the way that, and I thought they did a fine job with this one, kind of just laying down the basics of the 11th Doctor. And it made, actually, as I watched it, I kept thinking, wow, it really makes me want to go back to Series 5 and kind of start and watch 11.
Really, Doctor. All the revisiteds for the 9, 10, and now 11 makes me want to go back and rewatch the entire new series.
For you, yeah. No, 11 is the one that really did it for me. So, if anything, it made me appreciate, it kind of set my excitement for Capaldi aside, and really appreciate the 11th Doctor and what he's brought to the character. And it's now watching that, I think I'm going to be very sad next week when we see the Christmas special.
Isn't that odd? Because that's the exact same reaction I had. Is I sat down to watch it, and I even went into this one with a little bit of a bah humbug attitude. It was like, oh, I've got to watch that revisited before we record Sunday. Okay. And I told Mel, she was like, oh, one of those. Okay, yeah, we can watch it tonight. And we sat down and watched it, and just as it unfolded, it was like, I'm really going to miss Matt. It just hit me.
Welcome to my team.
Yeah. I mean, really. It really, because I've been in the same boat. I mean, I'm going to be sad to see him go anyway, but I was so excited for Capaldi and for something different, and I can't say Capaldi.
You did very good there.
It was the
good
first
job.
time.
You did really well there.
And every fiber of my being is going, no, that's not right.
Notice I keep messing it up, still saying Capaldi.
It just sounds better.
Capaldi.
I know. Henceforth, he shall be named Capaldi. Because that's more of a who name.
Is this for something?
You can have some.
Yay! I finally get a Rice Krispie treat.
Yay! But, yeah, I just, it's not that I'm ready to see Matt go. It's not that I'm chomping at the bit to get rid of him. I just, oh, yeah, cool. Capaldi's going to be great. He's going to be awesome. Watching this was just
it's the realization of, oh, wait, that means Matt has to leave for us to get Capaldi.
Yeah, it really just hit me watching this. That I kind of took that away from it, too, watching the interview pieces and when he would, tangent off on something, and then the arm would come up and he'd scratch the back of his head. It's just like, I'm really going to miss this.
He put so much of himself into the role, too.
I don't think you realize that until you see Matt Smith sit down in an interview.
Or in something else.
You see how much that he really brings of himself to the role. And he adds to it, don't get me wrong, but that really hits home when you see him talk about things in interviews and normal. Unlike David Tennant, when you see him in an interview and he's got that thick Scottish or
Scottish accent.
It's very much.
And it's like, takes you completely out of me. Like, that's not the voice that's supposed to be coming out of that man's face.
Any thoughts on the discussions they had in it?
Strangely enough, this one felt much more inclusive.
Aside from one glaring issue, I
River?
thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they even mention her in 10?
They
did.
I don't
remember
her.
She was mentioned in 10, yeah. It was set up, which I thought they would expand
on that and maybe explain the mystery to some that probably watched and didn't quite understand or anything. I don't know.
Especially since she's in the 2 episodes following the special.
Well, I guess maybe that's why they didn't want to ruin that surprise of you haven't seen these.
I suppose it could be, yeah.
But then again, you don't get the reveal in that either. So
right.
I don't know. That was kind of the one glaring thing that I kept waiting for Alex Kingston to show up, and she didn't. And then I kept thinking, well, they probably couldn't get her. But man, they got everybody else.
Yeah, they really.
I mean, not just companion-wise, but I mean,
I was kind of surprised they had Kevorkian.
Yeah,
she did not look like.
You know what I think they did is because they're recent Who people. I think that they've gotten them in the UK while they were doing other things and set them down. Because if you'll notice, the lighting on some of them are different, as though they've taken and just quickly dropped a background behind them.
They might
because there's a lot of places you can hear kind of some echoey background noise, like maybe they were at a convention and they pulled them aside.
Oh.
And so I got the impression that was instead of come here and come into our studio and sit down.
She wasn't in the same outfit that she was at Cali, was she?
No, she wasn't. Okay. No, in fact, she looked very hip and retro.
She did look very hip.
Not retro's not what I'm looking for. Mod, yes.
Kevorkian's kind of hot.
But anyway, for an older lady, she's gorgeous. But anyway, so yeah, I got the impression just because those things stuck out, especially with Karen Gillan's
hair.
That was so short. Wasn't her hair really short?
No.
It was
really long.
It was clearly hers was clearly recorded before she's got the wig on, but it didn't look like a wig.
It didn't look like a wig. It looked very.
And Matt's was
very
obviously
right after Angel State Manhattan. She had a lot of
hair. Well, she had a lot of hair, but she had her bangs cut. Did you notice that? She doesn't usually have her bangs cut in this series.
Yeah, that's right.
And Matt's was his hair from before his shaved head as well. So they did those interviews, but that's what I say. I think they grabbed them somewhere. Now Matt's looked like it was a studio interview, but just I could tell the lighting differences. I mean, they still used that animated background behind it, but I just could tell. And I think that they must have done that with everybody. They just grabbed them when they could and went to them instead of having them come to a studio. One other thing I'll say about this, Stephen Moffat looked like he had this really kind of like wrinkled, pulled out of a suitcase, button-down shirt underneath a suit coat. Did that not bother anybody?
I didn't notice it.
I think he must have been somewhere, and they pulled him in and said, "Here," and I got to at least put the suit coat on. It's like it was so unkempt and like he pulled it out of a suitcase, it was all wrinkled.
See,
and then he had this nice suit coat over it. It wasn't even a sports jacket; it was like a suit coat.
A suit coat.
And I went, how odd of a combination.
I noticed that and thought it was weird until, is it Marcus Wilson, who's the other executive producer?
Mm-hmm. Who's got the little zip-up.
Until he showed up and he's in the little zip-up.
But he's been in that.
And everything else.
And I haven't noticed Moffat in this.
Yeah.
The other thing you notice
about Moffat... But then Rory
Moffat,
shows up in a T-shirt and I'm like, they let you out of the house in that?
Moffat borrowed that suit coat from somebody, and you know how I know? Because there's one part where he pulls his arm up, and he's got his arm up here in front of his face, and that suit coat is pulled clear back to here. That coat did not fit him. You could see, like, at least 6 inches of his sleeve sticking out of that suit coat. It was the wrong size. And I'm sorry that bothered me, but that just popped right out at me, and I was like, oh my gosh, he had a wrinkled shirt on
map of Utah,
and decided, I better make it look like it's my map of Utah. I looked at that and I thought, how unkempt does he look in this? And then he's trying to disguise it with a suit coat that's like 2 sizes too small. That's all I have to say.
There was an element to it that did just kind of feel like it was thrown together.
The interviews parts do.
Yeah.
I don't think that I thought the editing was well done as far as the clips and stuff. But yeah.
I watched this so long ago, I don't remember much else about it.
There's not much really else to say. I mean, they covered the big monsters. They covered the Weeping Angels, which
is
they really had to do
is a mat, and they covered the Silence, which is a mat.
I kind of thought they'd mentioned the resurgence of Silurian. since that was the new villain for his run initially.
Yeah. I think in most of these we've only gotten 2 villains, right?
I was going to get more water, and I
don't know why.
I was thinking I hadn't got my glass of water yet, but I do.
But I think we've only gotten 2 villains in most of these. So, but yeah,
those are the 2 big ones.
Those are the big ones. But no, I just I thought it was a nice capstone moment, and it kind of brought the series back up on that bittersweet high note that, compared to what had the last couple of words, like to get to this one, specifically 8 and 9. Those are really the 2 dogs. The set.
I think 3 was pretty low too,
and 3, but it brought it up, and it kind of made me
6
excited. 6 was good. It was all Colin.
Yeah. It was all Colin. At least they got Colin.
Yeah,
that's true.
They didn't get 8.
It's not like they. Yeah. Well, Paul McGann obviously had scheduling issues.
Each Doctor, except for we know that now from the 5-ish Doctors, but
he was shooting Night of the Doctor. He couldn't be there.
Well, he was shooting all the whatever television appearances or programs that he was shooting. Television commitments, as he called.
But
as odd as it is, it kind of makes me look forward to the hour-long special that they're going to do.
I think that's the one that's on the DVD.
No. The one that's the Farewell to Matt.
Oh, that one.
That one.
I don't know. You're kind of a sadist, aren't you?
I'll watch it and say he's not leaving. Look at us celebrating his.
We're going to call it Matt
time.
Smith. Goodbye, farewell, amen. And you'll be like,
he's still here.
He's not gone.
I will, as a kind of a final note on the Revisiteds, for anybody who is new to the whole shindig, I firmly now am convinced that the box sets they're releasing, where you get the Revisited and then whatever they aired afterwards, totally the way to get into it.
Oh, in the Classic Who?
Yeah. I mean, despite the fact that we've had issues with what was shown or what wasn't, or, who was included or whatnot, I put my new Who goggles on.
It's still not a bad introduction to Classic Who.
Yeah, really. I looked at it through those eyes and
ultimately,
thought, that's what it should have served its purpose.
Said that last week, but I think they all do serve their purpose.
So there's that. I say that a lot.
So there's
I just realized I heard myself say it twice last week, and I've already said it 2 or 3 times today.
That's true.
Well, I say that a lot. So there's that.
That
means I'm done, and I don't want to talk about the subject anymore. And you should. That's my segue. I don't segue.
Well, guess what? We're going to talk about Matt in print form.
Hopefully, because I can't get my comic flow to pull up any comics.
I think mine pull up either. There we go.
I think the iOS update on my iPad.
Actually, I'm using my Kindle app because I couldn't get it to pull up in my comic.
Going on to the comic.
Oh, Forever Autumn. Yeah, I read that.
It was kind of nice. I like that he revisited all of the previous places where the companions were taken, or at least 6 of them, which was kind of a nice, take up 2 pages, and then it was just because I was kind of like,
big splashy pages.
How are they going to make this last for 2 more issues? And having Clara taken off the top is the smart way to do it.
Real early on.
And then him investigating and finding Adam's
Let me ask
stash.
you.
It was cool that it became a detective story all of a sudden.
Has IDW finished the Amy and Rory storyline in their comics?
The last one came out this week.
Okay.
Last week.
It was Clara. Yeah.
Was Clara in any of the new line?
I think she was.
Yeah. She was. Okay.
Yeah. They finished their run last
week. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Because if you notice, you only get Clara from the back here. You don't get a shot of her face. It made me wonder if they just hadn't got into their license with Clara yet and they couldn't use her.
I think they had.
And that's why she's taken so... Okay, then that kind of blows my theory.
I could be wrong about that.
Well, they have the meeting in the 12th issue.
Yeah, but that's why...
But that would have been another month later.
That was a month later, and so I wonder if maybe they got that managed, but that's why they had to do the last month this way, is because they still... Technically, you can't take on the next companion until it's cleared. And it makes me wonder if that's why they did that. But if they just did a Clara story,
checking now.
I don't know why they would have had Clara rights anyway, since this is pretty much their swan song. They're done after these, after they finish off these titles. But
and I think they have one more issue total to release. Is that right?
Just the official
final
50th anniversary final, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was a clever way to get about it, and then finding, because you really it was probably the best way to. We've got to go find Adam wherever he is, and since he's been hidden so well from the Doctor so much, it makes sense that they spend half the issue trying to find him, and then half the issue talking. This
was a talky episode or talky issue.
It was.
It was a really, really wordy issue.
I get the impression it was more of a. We need to really kind of.
We got to move this plot along.
Yeah, flesh this plot out.
This was the exposition third episode of a TV show.
Absolutely.
And I think it was Holly or Chrissy that kind of never really bought Adam as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's brilliant that they ended up pairing him up with the Master.
Well, it works because it meets the Master's MO of needing to tag along with somebody else because he never does anything by himself. And it works with Adam kind of being propped up a little bit because he's not necessarily a super villain.
Well, I think that's the thing is all along for the first 10 issues, it's almost like you're convinced that maybe he is, but how did he get to this point?
Yeah.
And it's almost reassuring when the Master shows up that you kind of realize that, oh, okay, well, he never ever achieved that supervillain status. He never got to that point, and he still needed help even in the long run. So I appreciated that aspect of it.
Agreed. And then I really like the cliffhanger of choose, or I'm going to save the one and blow the rest
and
up.
And that's quite a... That's why...
and this panel is just really cool.
It was
that is a really cool panel.
It was important for people to know that there was going to be...
There was a stake.
A 12th issue beforehand, because, this is a really dramatic and heavy ending.
Well, that and the fact that I like the way the panel's laid out because... The companions are not in the order in which they were taken.
No, they're
not in the order of Doctor. They're just kind of there.
Yeah.
And so then
he even stole Jenny.
It required you to really draw your attention to who's in this case,
look at it,
know, and who else in here. And some of them, I felt again the artwork may have let me down just a little bit because I'm
so much appreciative though that this is who did the 11th story because it's such a talkie.
Yeah.
And that this artist did this story because I loved the art of the 12th.
Just these two panels capture 11 so well on the very last page.
I think they do.
And through most of it captures him.
But I was Sean. I didn't appreciate the artwork in this one. And I was so glad that they had a different artist do 12 because that's the one that really needed more of the artwork that's appropriate in 12. So, in issue 12.
iOS update blanked my library in comic flow. That's very angry.
I couldn't even get anything to load into mine. So
I just re-downloaded them from your Dropbox actually, so that I could get them back in here. But
Clara definitely in the current run. That was the most recent.
Yeah, that's the issue that just came out.
So maybe they had to wait until the 12th issue came out before they finally got.
Yeah, I don't know how far back.
Because, like I say, at the beginning of this one, you don't see her.
Yeah, that's true.
In fact, I don't even think they reference. Well, they do. But. So anyway, moving on to the 12th story.
So there's problems with the map, and the fact that I want this place filled full of concrete.
Did that bug anybody else? The map. The concrete thing was.
In fairness, the map does have a big circle on it, not an X.
That general area.
He could be saying it's not here.
Oh, maybe, yes.
I don't know what's over here. But
this isn't where it is.
It's not over here. Yeah. The X is on the other side of the map.
We just don't get to see the X. It's on the other side of Salt Lake City there.
Reaching. That and the concrete. Where was this vault full of concrete?
Yeah, I get the impression that they're going to fill the entire thing.
She makes that
Which, that would have been a lot of concrete.
Yeah, there probably wasn't enough concrete.
A lot of money. So I wonder if they decided that they're just going to fill in I think this is what we talked about. I think they decided that was just going to be too expensive and cost effective, and so they, just filled in the first level because nobody could get past the concrete. So.
Yeah.
That's it.
Until you bring in a demolitions team and some explosives.
I was going to say, I thought we discussed all of this in 9 when he revealed his plan. Sorry, I'm going.
Let's move on to 12 because I wasn't blown away by this except for the end. Of
Here's my problem though: is that
it was exposition. It was not great.
I
artwork.
Read 10 and couldn't stop, so I went ahead and rushed into 11. So it's been a month since I've read this. I will say this for your real copy, Keith, is it's so nice to be able to have this panel
because you can see both pages.
To see both pages as opposed to flipping back and forth digitally,
and without the watermark. It was nice reading an issue without trying to tilt my screen back and forward.
Kindle. I just say in Comic Flow, you can actually turn it sideways and.
No.
Yeah, there's a way to do it.
Must be a setting thing.
It must be because I on Comic Flow, which unfortunately I can't open it now, but in Comic Flow you can pull, and it'll give you split pages together.
Oh well, so yeah, 11 was a good third act episode for setup for what's going on.
Oh, no, it won't, because these are PDF. These aren't CDRs.
Yeah.
That's why. Sorry.
I'm not crazy. I just play one on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Well, halfway through up what they call season 3 in the comics was Rory and Amy. So I don't know when they did the switch over. But by at least 13.
Let's talk about issue 12. Who the heck is this guy?
I don't know. Isn't that the backside of Cavalli?
Is that what we're claiming?
I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention.
It's issue 12. All of the issues have had a doctor on them so far, we need to have an issue.
It's the worst issue cover, but unfortunately, because it had to be the center of the TARDIS, when you put all these together on...
Why not?
They had to have something there.
I guess they couldn't have made it the sign, could they?
No,
that would be on
it's
the
on the wrong
next.
side.
Yeah.
See, it very much looks... In my mind, this looks like the back of Baker with the hat and the coat.
I don't see a hat.
What hat?
I think it's supposed to be...
his collar. It's popped.
Oh, it's the Master then.
Maybe it is.
No, but it's brown.
Oh, it's in the TARDIS lighting.
Yeah, as I say, I think it might be that orange glow.
I'm going to buy Master before I buy a Doctor.
Yeah, it's the collar's popped.
I kind of figured it was Adam.
Although the Master doesn't really have that big of a collar when you look at it in here. Now look.
Oh, you're right, because it's not the Time Lord collar, it's the Anthony Amos collar. Or Anthony... Well, I suppose it's if he's got his traveling cloak on from the Five Doctors.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's a cover. There's a silence on this one, and they're not in the issue.
Well, yeah, we established that.
We made our peace with that a long time ago.
Bringing it back up. It's a cover.
It's a cover.
And there's some much better alternate covers.
I especially like the one of all 11 Doctors on it.
Unfortunately,
that one.
The only one. Was that a cover? Okay, then
it's an alternate cover.
I do like that one. Well, it was after the proof covers. That's why
I like the ash can.
I like this one, except for you had to get 2 different covers to get everybody.
I like the ash can version better than the color one, actually.
The ash can is better looking. Okay.
The other alternate was without the
was font. That before? Oh, it was before. That's why I didn't think about that being. So that was a proof for that one, for that cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's good.
I like that one.
This one was just like, okay.
Really?
I could have made that.
Yeah, by the way...
Well, that's the problem, is they've all had the real picture covers, so this is their real picture cover version of it.
Comic manufacturers and IDW in particular.
But you see whose Vortex that is?
The diamond one.
That's the 4th Dr. Vortex.
Here's a note to all you comic manufacturers out there, and IDW in particular. Yes, I know that this is a licensed tie-in, and that you probably were given all kinds of cool promotional shots to use. Please don't. It's a comic book. I don't want to buy a comic book that's got somebody's picture on it, because then all of a sudden it's a magazine.
You don't have to, Sean, because it had all kinds of different covers.
Yeah, that's true.
And you got yours for free anyway because you got a preview copy. So.
Just saying.
No, I'm teasing you.
Just saying. Okay, so
I thought
the artwork inside the issue.
I love it.
Is really good.
It's very what comic books.
Yeah,
art which should be
in my mind this is
just what
comic books
my perfect example of comic book art.
And it does all the Doctors so well.
It does. I think unfortunately, as you mentioned, I think there's some shots in that capture Matt a lot better than this, because this is Matt in this one, and to me that's not quite Matt Smith there. And so I really was disappointed with some of the shots of Matt Smith's the 11th Doctor.
Artists.
This one's good. This one's very Matt Smith. Yeah, they did. That's a totally different artist, Keith.
Yeah.
Can't you? You could tell. I
Each
was just telling you that artwork was crap
the
just about 5 minutes ago, and then praising this one. Of course, it's different. This one's a pretty good. It's for a minimalist shot of the 11th Doctor. There, I thought was pretty good. But then as you go through here, there's some shots that just don't quite do it. They're just not very 11th Doctor. But that's my biggest complaint, because I think all the other Doctors are realized very well, especially Eccleston. I think he looks fantastic.
Yeah.
The Ainley Master is dead on, in my opinion, in almost every shot of him. My other problem was the first Doctor is very, very poorly realized, but everybody else.
And it seems like. Did it feel to you guys that all the Doctors had even things to do?
I thought it still centers around 11 the most.
11
obviously, as it should,
or and 9
and 9. Well, yes, as it should as well, because that's a tie back. But I really felt that it balanced everybody back beyond that. Okay, I didn't think everybody got as much time, but I think it was balanced well enough. So yes, I thought it was pretty good. Everybody at least got a line. Everybody got a moment. Like 4 kneeling down next to K9 as he fires at the Autons, and he says, "That's a good dog." It's just little things like that. They did right in this story.
And I could totally hear 8 saying, "And you want to give this up?"
Yeah, exactly.
Give this life up?
That was a very good 8 line.
I really have no complaints with its culmination of awesomeness.
That's just it. I could complain about the fact that for here's what we get: 12 issues, the culmination, the pinnacle, the crowning moment. Every companion, every Doctor, in a free-for-all fist fight with Autons. But you know what? I've got every companion and every Doctor.
I'm going the same place, and I think Chrissy made the same point. If I sat down and this had just been structurally a story that was released in the middle of a run one time, I'd have gone, "Oh, this was a terrible way to do this." But as the culmination, and all of my companions and all my Doctors are there, and this is the 50th anniversary, and it's the biggest multi-Doctor story I've seen in comics, I was just fine with it. Yeah. I was like, wow. And this is the only medium this year that we've really gotten everybody together.
Yeah.
Aside from the actual 50.
Oh, that's true. Well, I mean, but no. Okay, I mean, from beginning to end. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
From beginning to end. I'm sorry. You're right. But from beginning to end is what I meant.
In the same scene. Well, no, because there was the scene at the end of the 50th.
In the same room.
No, they were in the same at the end of the 50th.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
In the fog.
But that was more of a...
Involving
that was more of a step out of the story dream image. That wasn't him really stepping out with all of the Doctors.
They had a meeting, and then they went and got coffee.
Oh, okay.
That's totally how that works.
Well, if that works for you, then okay.
I loved all the little moments that you got.
I don't think Grace looks like Grace again.
No,
but
still.
Actually, I think that looks more like her than the other issue did. I can tell that. Oh wait, that might be Daphne Ashbrook as opposed to the other one where it didn't really.
This is better. I'll give you that. Better. It still doesn't look like her.
It doesn't look like her, but it's better. I can at least tell who it's supposed to be.
Am I mistaken, or is this the first...
No, I wouldn't have known that was her if the 8th Doctor wasn't there and made that comment.
Well, that's true.
I would not have known that. Sorry.
I don't know if I go that far. Am I mistaken, or is this the first official confirmation that we've gotten that it is Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
No, it was in the time.
Wasn't it implied?
That. No,
I mean, they were together, but
there was a line about
was there a line about them getting married?
She says he addresses her as Mrs. Smith, and he addresses him as Mrs. Smith.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Then never mind.
He addresses her as Mrs. Smith, and she addresses him as Mr. Smith. Yeah.
I love the shot when they're first getting all out, and there's Rory and Susan and then Jamie. I just think that's really well composed.
But I get the impression this is before they're married.
Oh yeah,
because
the doctor says
Mr. Smith and Miss Jones.
Yeah, well, so in my head canon, they were married.
They were pulled out of time because this is, in fact, look, she doesn't have the dress.
She's in a different outfit.
That's
she didn't have dreadlocks, but she had like the braids.
That's her season 3 run,
right? Yeah, this is clearly her season 3. Well, this is where she was pulled out of, and
I thought it was interesting that the panel right below that is the 6th Doctor is the one that says the fighting is stupid and pointless. It's like, Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, he says Mr. Smith and Miss Jones.
Yeah. I read it wrong. Just move on.
I'm sorry, there's a watermark there. It's hard to read.
Well, yeah, well, actually, I thought that was kind of funny going back to the Sixth Doctor, because the Sixth Doctor is the era that they felt was the most violent. The Doctor was the most violent. And I actually thought that was kind of a funny...
Oh, well,
we've done this tongue in cheek. Is the reason he says all this fighting is stupid and pointless. Because it's said in the way that the Sixth Doctor would say it, and then it's almost like meta, like we're referencing the fact that it's he's making the most pacifistic line from the era that was probably considered the most violent in Doctor Who. I thought that was intentionally done.
Let's talk about the fact that the Sixth Doctor pretty much saves the day here, because he stops everybody from fighting because the fighting is pointless, and it's his companion Frobisher who, from beginning to end, foiled every plot, every scenario, you don't have a remote control, you don't have this. It's
whoever sat down and
hooray for the Penguin
outlined this storyline. They were really a fan of Frobisher.
Yeah, they really were,
and I'm okay with that. I can't wait to do our Frobisher archive.
Yeah.
I
can't either because
so excited.
It's a clever way to do it.
I know very little about Frobisher still, and I'm excited to go back and hear and listen and read some of the printed materials of him. And I used to, when I first was introduced to Frobisher long ago, just in glimpses and wiki articles and things like that, I thought it was the silliest thing I'd ever seen. And the more that this is, and I hear about Frobisher, and this story particularly has made me so love for the character of Frobisher, and I still don't know that much about him. So I'm stoked that we're going to
just the characterization we get of him in this
archive
is just he goes beyond the Penguin physique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Here's a true, in my mind, true comic art panel. This is so G.I. Joe. The explosion and just the shadow in the background getting wasted.
Yep.
I really enjoyed that. Not so much that it was, because it was Adam, but...
So we get the return of the Autons from the Sixth Doctor story and the Ainley Master, but we don't get any resolution from that story or really any hint of what Frobisher's been doing this whole time. Is it just me that noticed that?
Wasn't he... He was
disguised
as something.
He was disguised as the remote control, but what was he doing before he was that?
He was disguised as Perry originally when they captured him, and then he snuck out of the container.
And then contacted the 10th Doctor.
Right.
And then, so I guess we assume this is right after that?
Yeah.
Don't you? I mean, because...
He wasn't there all that long.
I don't know. They haven't established it.
But the thing is, there's a wibbly-wobbly thing. So there wasn't a whole... 11 story and 10 story and 9 story is all happening at the same time in their own respective timelines.
Right.
So this moment comes shortly after every one of those stories that we did. There hasn't been a gap in time, because if there was, everybody is sent back, and obviously they thank you, Day of the Doctor. Their memories they forget because their timelines are out of sync, which totally fixes a lot of things like the 5 Doctors and 3 Doctors for me and the 2 Doctors. But anyway, although 3 and 2 seem to remember each other really well when 5 comes back around, when the 5th Doctor comes around. But anyway, that
maybe once you come back into contact, it all floods back.
Why wouldn't you remember that your companion was kidnapped out of your timeline? Why wouldn't you remember that from era to era? So to me, it goes out.
I used to have companions. They wandered off.
Yeah, that's just it. So it's a from that moment and back to that moment kind of thing. So this is all kind of happening for Adam. It's probably it's happening as he's going in. But from their perspective, this is happening simultaneously. So it worked for me. I didn't think Frobisher was there hiding for a long time.
Yeah, no, he was there fairly.
Did we? What do we think of Adam's redemption?
I liked it. It was nice.
I thought it was nice, but I thought it was a little strong. He did kidnap everyone, and then
the problem is
he turns tail on the Master. Okay, I expected that.
It's a little heavy-handed, and in the sense of the way that he does it, this story made it seem like the Master was manipulating him more than
I think he actually was.
No, I think he was. This gives me the impression that Adam was being manipulated by the Master more so. That's why I say earlier on, I feel like wow, they're turning Adam into this really smart supervillain. And this one strips that away and makes me think that there was just a lot more of the Master's influence. And so when he turns on the Master, then I think that it does allow for the redemption, even which the beautiful moment is the fact that 9 agrees.
Yeah.
And that he says there. Rest now. So, no, I think I was fine with that. And it's almost a typical redemption story for, look at Vader.
Well, yeah, it's true.
He turned 180 degrees at the end of Return of the Jedi, and I'm fine with the way that played out. This was kind of the same thing to me. Was we turn 180?
He has a chest plate,
and you're right, he does. He even has a chest plate, but he turns the 180, and it really felt like that moment from Return of the Jedi. So that works for me in this as well.
I think more than anything, it's the one panel where the Master says, "I've had to listen to your simpering for decades, mewling self-pity, but it was all worth it to orchestrate this level of vengeance against the man who's thwarted me time and again." I kind of thought that it's still Adam's plan. It was still Adam's doing it. The Master was there at Adam's.
Jumped on board later and helped him out.
Well, the way that I interpreted this is that Adam came up with the plan. Adam had the know-how. Adam got everything done, and the Master was brought in as assistant, and the Master kind of thought, yeah, sure, I'll play that role, and then I'll spring this on you at the last minute and take over. But it really is not so much the Master in that advisory role, as he's wont to do, is still whispering in his ear and pushing him towards
keeping
certain
him
things.
on track.
My impression of this, if Adam had done this all by himself, I don't think he could have pulled it off, is the impression I get when you finally get to the 12th issue. I get the impression that he is in charge. He is manipulating, even with that backstory reference that we get in the 9th story, the 9th issue. I really got the impression that Adam was the mastermind. When we get to this and the little comments that the Master makes, and it wasn't almost like I was just waiting for that moment to spring. I got the impression that he was probably manipulating and whispering suggestions and maybe guiding him so that he was a success. That if Adam had done this himself, it probably would have derailed on him before it even got started. So I got the impression from this 12th issue that the Master really was kind of puppeteering without making it look like he was puppeteering.
Yeah, I could see it that way too, I guess.
But that's why the redemption works for me. Maybe I'm fixing that in my own head.
See, when I initially read it, I thought, oh, the Master teamed up with him after 6's issue, and that's when they teamed up.
Well, I thought I sort of went that direction until he said it's been decades, and I thought, well, he must have been there all along.
I guess I figured.
Again, wibbly wobbly.
Yeah, we don't know how long all of this took.
See, I don't think that this is in sequence to. I don't think right after the 6th Doctor story where we see the Ainley Master. I think that was probably the Master from another timeline, from an earlier time in his timeline, and this is happening later than what that happened. So that was 2 Masters.
Yeah, but
do we think this is obviously after he gets chased off?
Although
he
that
makes
almost
the comment,
fixes, he comes
though,
back
about,
in 7.
I'm almost working for somebody.
Yeah, it almost fixes the fact that he was trying to basically trap the 6th Doctor, so that Adam could capture him. That's right. I forgot about that. But then in the 7th Doctor story,
he mentions that he's working for someone.
Yeah.
So I can see those being out of order. It's 7 where he mentions that he's working for someone, isn't he?
I thought so. Yeah. Maybe it was 6.
So I'm thinking it was the 6th one. That
at any rate,
yeah.
You know what? 11 Doctors.
Really?
Companions. I'm fine with this.
That overshadows everything else of the story.
Light at the end probably doesn't work as well if it didn't have all the Doctors in it for me too. But
I don't know. I don't think I agree.
The final.
It was well written too.
The final page, a companion true. Do we come down on the side
that's where I think it's a little over the top of the redemption.
Do we come down on the... because obviously it's meant to be a ha-ha for all of you people that never considered Adam Mitchell a companion.
No.
Boom. Here it
really
is.
But, to me, he was in 2 stories. I don't even go to he traveled in the TARDIS. He was in 2 stories where he helped the Doctor. Well, didn't really help him in the second one, but I would consider him a companion.
I always considered him a companion, so I don't know. That might have been...
Drew asked me the slippery question. So what determines a companion? And I went, oh, man. Can of worms you're opening up. Because some people think this and some people think that. I have to admit, I'm still a little torn on this.
To me, this is Ghost Anakin standing there watching Luke at the end. This is, again, it's another Return of the Jedi that's not over the top for me because that's young Anakin.
Yeah, well, I don't like young Anakin. I want old Anakin.
Well,
that doesn't make sense.
To me, that's old Anakin too. But that works. To me, that's young Anakin. That works for that moment, though.
I had that conversation this week too. Somebody was trying to figure out who this action figure was. And I was like, "Oh, that's Anakin. That's not Anakin. That's old Anakin. He was never old." Okay, So. I explain all that. Like, they made an action figure of a ghost. Yeah,
you did it, Lucas. You've eradicated from a bunch of young people's minds.
Yeah,
so.
At least I remember it.
But I don't know. I'm still a little torn on the whole true companion status. I don't know.
A companion true. Can you really consider someone who kidnapped everyone, even though he decided to redeem himself at the end, the true companion?
I think the ultimate sacrifice and redemption is what... The ultimate sacrifice is what is worthy the redemption.
The ultimate sacrifice? Yeah.
The ultimate sacrifice was worth the redemption. Works for me.
It was a good way to end it.
Work for you.
It's a good way to end it.
You won't change my mind.
It wasn't until afterwards I started thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. It works for the story. It works well for the story.
Agreed. It works for the story.
Sean, what are we going to come up on the schedule?
I also love the line where he's in a true Davros moment that he's going to eliminate everything.
Yeah.
And his comment is finally some peace and quiet because he's still got the drums going on in his head in this bit.
Yes.
I like that.
So still trying to get rid of those drums.
What is on the schedule for next week? We've got
I'll pull it up.
Christmas with the Vortex crew. We're going to be doing The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe.
For Friday night.
For Friday Night Who?
Friday Night Who? Are you going to come over for the port, or are you going to do it from home?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
There may be gifts.
There could be crackers, at least.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, we got to do our tradition. You got to come over.
Unfortunately, Sarah won't be able to make it.
Aww.
She has to work the next day.
I got a lot going on Saturday, too, so I don't know. I suppose it's a short episode.
Or we could save the crackers for actual recording.
We could do that.
When we discuss the Christmas episode.
Maybe we got to do that.
I have leftovers from last year, so we still may have some leftovers, even if I take them for the Christmas special. We bought a really big box.
We'll plan our stuff off air. What's on the schedule?
So Dr. Widow and the Wardrobe is our show for next week on Friday Night Who. Our show is the actual...
50th retrospective.
The 50th retrospective of the 11th Doctor's era, and we'll be reviewing The Time Machine,
Destiny of
the Doctor audio story. Right. So, yes, that's what it is.
Which you guys need to get listened to now.
Got a week.
I have listened to it.
And then the following...
I may have to re-listen, because it's...
Is it dense?
It's called The Time Machine. I'm willing to bet there's some wibbly wobbly going on.
It's not so much... Well, I can't say why I need to listen to it again. It's a wrap-up story, and where the comic book is very visual, and you can see how it's working out. Yeah, there's a lot of focus on what's going on and how things tie in. So I can safely say that.
And then the following week, we will be doing Fires of Pompeii. And which will lead us right up into the Christmas special, and we will review that the following week. Yay! So,
all right,
that is that.
Anything else for this week, guys?
I don't think so.
All right. If not, until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Be seeing you.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.